Hello and welcome back to USVN for episode 7. It's our week 6 NFL Roundup, our week 7 predictions. We will try our best to avoid all conversations about aliens or politics or QAnon or conspiracy theories. We've already gone over a lesson on the protocols of the Elders of Zion, so hopefully we don't have to talk about that anymore. We are ready. We have purged our system of all of the garbage, and hope to get just to the sports. We got a lot to talk about. Big week in the NFL last week, and obviously, as always, a big week coming up. But before we get started, I do want to say to anyone watching, please, without saying anything else about it, please donate to, if you are able, if you're watching, you have a couple extra bucks, donate to the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, PCRF.net. They desperately need money. Children, the children of Palestine desperately need help. Please, please, please donate. So I will not say anything else about that. And that will be that. So with that being said, we have Mikey the Greek
Weapons
has rejoined
for
us.
Israel. Yes.
Mikey the Greek is joining us again, and we're gonna put him on mute. And G Money is of course with us. It's nice to have you back, Mike. I'm glad you figured out how to operate your computer. We're not going to get into that. I'm not going to talk about it. It will really get me upset. So I have chosen a charity to support both myself and to put out there that helps innocent children. And I thought that should be completely non-controversial. One should be able to say, yes, send money to help children. So I hope that that's okay without any conflict. So we'll leave it at that. Yes, we agree. We'll leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. I guess if we have to.
Yeah,
God,
we have to.
Brian. God, Brian, you douche. Go ahead.
We could go into it, but
idiot.
we are never going to get to the NFL if I do.
And by the way,
well, go ahead. Well,
and I'll just say, oh fuck,
I'll go
I said, I'll spend the evening with my wife. If that's what you guys want to do.
So. No, we do not. No, I didn't bring it up. I specifically made sure to. I was very
yes.
I was very cautious in what I chose to bring up, and so I don't. This is not that. This is not a political podcast.
Here.
Anyway, so that is where we are. Okay,
so I was going to say, if you put Mike on mute, it'll be just like last week, where it's just you and me talking to each other.
That is correct. By far the best episode we've done, I might say. Especially because we were able to make most of his predictions for him.
Well, and the best part is we still went just as long.
I know, but somehow I felt better at the end of it. I was less depressed
than he did, actually, for him.
Yeah. So
like most like a controlled conversation. That's how they like it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm glad you broke up and I didn't hear what you said. Okay. So, gentlemen, huge week in the NFL this week. We have no more undefeated teams. Big deal. Mike's system proves itself once again to be a great system. I don't even know what you ended up betting on when it was all said and done because you weren't here last week. But I did see that you sent me a little text.
It's easy to track.
Setting money on fire. So
it's very easy to track.
Well, I wasn't sure what the line ended up being on the 49ers Browns, so I wasn't sure if you ended up betting that game. Yeah, okay. So you bet the 49ers Browns? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Even if you didn't,
so either way, I'd lose 50 and win 96. It's the same.
Not with
it's
the
same
win.
thing. You can still track it regardless.
You'd win the yes. You'd lose 50
because I lost the 49ers.
Yeah,
50 and then the 96. It's the same thing. You don't win like extra. It's 96.
How did you win? How did you win 96?
Every time.
Oh!
Because I would have had money on the Browns.
4 is the vig. I thought it was 90. I thought it was 5 was the vig. Okay, so you won 96. You spent 100.
I'm pretty sure it's 96.50. Yeah.
Okay, so you spent 100. You got 96 back.
Spent 100, got 96 back. Correct.
Okay. So and then the Panthers game, You spent 100 and you got 56 back.
What was that result?
Dolphins won by
remember.
21, and I think the money line on that was I think the money line on that was, I think I figured out, would pay off like
way less,
$5. Yeah, there's $6 or something on the win.
Yeah, it was terrible.
So yeah, so you lost like 45.
So you win like 55. Usually it's $54 or $55. Yep.
Yeah. So okay, so you lost 45 on that one.
So I bet on that one I lost 45. Yeah. Exactly.
And then
those are the ones that are killing me.
Then you got your right down the middle with the Giants Bills.
That's a 96 and then a 50.
Yep. So
well, it'd be a 54, I guess. Right?
Yeah, because the Bills on the money line, I think, was not much, 54.
It wasn't
much.
You
got your 96. So you got your 96 and 54. So you put in one, you got back 150. So you basically broke even on the week, it sounds like.
Well, that's what I keep doing, it's close. Even over the season, it's because I don't know the exact number, but it's very close to breaking even. It's like, it's not really working out or losing, to be quite honest with you. It's not. All it's doing, and this might be another pitch for Gamblers Anonymous. All it's doing is it's satisfying my gambling need.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like that's literally all it's doing.
I mean,
it's like it makes every game exciting. So I'm like, oh, cool, let's middle this one, and I'm like rooting for both sides. It's like, it's exciting. It really is.
Sure.
I love it. But
so the only thing I wanted to say was, had you picked, again, I've said this, just keep saying this, like if you were to pick one or two long shots every week, like the longest long shots, you're going to win a handful of them over the season. I bet you to bet. I mean, because there's usually only two to three long shots a week. If you ran that just betting those two long shots every week. Yeah, I think most years you probably have, you have enough upsets. I mean, granted, you're going to lose more than you win, no question.
I think this year's been pretty odd.
Well,
there's been some big upsets this year. Like,
yeah, but I feel like they're
Cleveland. There are, but I mean, I think there's a lot of times of covering. So I agree with what you're saying. Like, if you're saying bet on them with the points.
I mean, I'll bet no, not with the points. I'm saying I'll bet the money line.
The other side.
I'll bet the money line on the Browns. I'll bet it paid on a $50 bet. I'll bet it paid probably $300.
Oh, sure.
I bet it paid probably about $300.
Yeah, it was a plus. It was a plus 250 probably. Plus.
250, maybe 250. Because I know I looked at the Dolphins or the Panthers and the Giants, and those money lines were like on a $50 bet. I think we're like, I talked to Garrick about it. I think it was like 3 and 350 or something was the payout, or 350 and 4, something like that, somewhere in that range. And I was just like, man, you'd only have, if you hit 3 in a season, you would cover your season. Like, you would cover the cost of your season. If you spent $100 a week for 18 weeks, right? It's $1,800. You hit, well, you'd have to hit more than 3. I guess you'd have to, if you hit like 5 of those, $400 long shots, you'd make 2,000. So you'd come out net plus if you just did, you know what I mean? Like, and again, you're still not, I mean, whatever. It's, I'm just devil's advocate here. Like, that seems like the system. But anyway,
so the real question, Mike, is what are you betting this week?
I haven't. I have not looked. I haven't looked at my record. Where's my record from last week?
You got 6.
6. See, I had such a shit week, man.
But there are no double-digit lines this week. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
How many?
None.
There are none.
None. Okay. Hang on one sec.
Does that mean no bet for Mikey the Greek?
That's gonna. That's a challenge. I'm gonna pick a couple. I'm gonna breeze through it. I'm gonna pick my.
Yeah, we'll get to the picks.
Yeah, because you keep freezing up, so that's cool. Anyway,
We'll just do
yeah,
the
because
picks for him again.
yeah, right. Because I was gonna say, I think if I'm not mistaken, last week you and I tied.
We did.
But I think it came down to who. Wait a second. Oh, because I took Chargers. So I would have won if I had gotten you. You had Dallas.
No, I picked the Chargers as well.
Okay, so never mind, that was a push. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna look at was it the Sunday night game? No, we both had Buffalo in that game. Or yeah, we both had Buffalo.
yeah.
The split was I picked the Jets and you picked the Eagles.
Okay.
That was the one that I did that you didn't, and then you got Vegas and I picked. We have a couple others that are different, but those are
Those were the two. Okay. All right. So let's wind back to week 6. Obviously we I don't think we have to say anything about the Chiefs Broncos except to say that the Chiefs looked like they were desperately trying to lose that game. I I don't know why it takes me till week 6 or 7 every season to remember that Thursday night football screws with the players. I forget it every year.
Oh
And
yeah.
I need to remember moving forward that Thursday night football, it really is an all bets are off situation
Mhm.
because you get no rest. I mean, the only time it doesn't matter is if you have two teams coming off a bye, but otherwise, you know you're on light rest. You know, even guys that aren't quote unquote hurt are still banged up. I mean, this is a brutal game. You know, your
Mhm.
bruises start going away on Thursday, and
Yep.
you don't get a chance to actually feel good at practice. And you know, you don't get that break on Monday. You know, you don't get the same sort of practice break on Monday. At the very least, you're doing a walkthrough, but you still have to get up and go through the motions. You know, it is not it honestly in a lot of ways Thursday night football sucks. It's only good for fans because you get an extra day of football. It's really awful for the
I
players. And you know,
I really
they were
don't.
right to hate it and try to push against it. Go ahead, Mike.
I just don't know of many fans even that really love it. Although, although most fans hated it for many years because the games were the worst games of the week,
Yeah, well,
always.
when
And
those
now
first
they've
few
changed
seasons,
that.
well,
They've
especially
kind
those
of
first few seasons because they would be contracted in, and so that by the end of the season, you'd end up with one or two games that were like just the 1-13 Panthers, going up
oh
against the 2-12 Bears or whatever, and you're like, but now at least they can flex them out. They
yes,
can flex out.
yes,
But like
which
even
made them much
still,
better, much
it
better.
again makes it better for fans, but I would still argue like it's not better for
No,
team. I mean, it's not you, and you don't usually get better football. I mean, there are certainly some games that are really good games, but like of course there are. But I don't know that you get better football when you have two teams that are less prepared.
I don't
so
think Travis Kelce needed any time. Like I think he did just fine, even coming off the injury too.
Sure. Well, yeah, sure. But Mahomes didn't look sharp. You know,
No,
I mean,
did not.
I think the guys that end up looking that typically suffer performance wise on Thursdays are quarterbacks more than anybody else because they haven't had the week to kind of work out their timing on different routes, different strategies, different plans. They haven't had the time to work out those that stuff. Receivers, I mean, yeah, I guess it can happen with receivers too, but it seems like quarterbacks are the ones who generally tend to look the worst on Thursday night football. And Mahomes did not look good. I mean,
No,
he looked. I mean, he certainly didn't look like the best quarterback in the league. That's for sure.
you know what he also did? He didn't look like Russell Wilson.
Well, Russell Wilson, just. I'm sorry, man.
Rusty.
He's looked a little better this season, but he still just looks cooked. He looks absolutely cooked. And
He
I,
He
does.
just
I tell
looks
you,
like he doesn't fit Sean Payton's system. Is what it almost looks like.
mm,
Yeah,
I would probably agree with
no.
you and say that makes sense. If he had looked good last year, he just looks cooked. I mean,
He looked
he was
awful last year
awful
too.
last year. So, I mean,
The whole team looked bad last year, though. It wasn't just him.
Hmm.
I mean, still, I mean, and they look, they have problems. I mean, that offensive line is a pretty bad one. Um, but the
Has been for
defense,
years too. Like
say again,
ever since Manning retired, they have not had a good O line.
no, they're, yeah, that team, the Broncos, they need help. They need to go back to the drawing board this year. I mean, they've got some good pieces. Who is that running back? The undrafted rookie,
You're not.
McLaughlin.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I like him. I like him. I think he's got some chops. They didn't use him quite as much as I thought they would. I thought they would try to run right down the Chiefs' throat, because it does seem like that's the weakness of the Chiefs' defense, is that, because the one thing they have is a pretty good pass rush, but if you run at them
Yeah.
all night, you should be able to
Mhm.
neutralize that. And the Broncos, like, inexplicably did not do that. I don't quite understand it, but they let Russell Wilson sit back there and just get mauled all night long.
Yeah.
But anyway, nothing
But
much to say there. The Chiefs. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I agree. I think I feel bad for Bronco fans living here, obviously, because like I don't know why they're so bad.
Well,
Because
they
if
had
you,
to be pumped. They had to be pumped to get Sean Payton coming in, and then
Yeah.
well, that's it,
Rusty
right? They
coming
had that,
in.
and if you look at the offensive weapons, like Williams is a good running back. You just talked about McLaughlin. You've got Judy
Yeah.
and Sutton, and like they've got a good group to be
Yeah.
really strong
And
offensive side.
the tight end, Dolchik or Dulcich or whatever. I mean, he
Mhm.
seems like, I don't know that he's like he's certainly not an elite, tight end or anything, but he certainly
Mhm.
seems serviceable. He seems in the same category as maybe as Cole Kmet, from
Right.
at about the same stage of their development. You
You're not
know,
expecting Kelsey out of him, but I think the biggest shock out of that team, like just because I listened to what the guys are talking about, it's their defense. Like they were a top five defense
yeah,
last year,
yeah,
and this year I mean, they played well against the Chiefs, but beyond that, like they've not looked good. Like
yeah,
outside of like Sertan and one or two of the players on that side.
yeah, for sure. No, and yeah, they don't. I was trying to remember. Hold on. My memory is failing me in my old age. Oh yeah, Vance Joseph. I'm like, and it's not a coordinator problem. I mean, they've got a D coordinator who will probably lose his job this year, but I mean,
There's
will
something wrong there for
yeah,
sure, though.
there's something wrong. And it could. I mean, who knows? I mean, he certainly. I mean, they played well again. They played really well this week. Maybe they figured something out. Um, I mean, not well enough to win, obviously, but honestly, if you told me the Broncos would hold the Chiefs to 19, I would assume this was a field goal game. Um,
Sure.
you know, I mean, it's
Hmm.
just that
I
that
would
Wilson
agree.
was so bad. I
Mhm.
mean, the offense just looked just completely incompetent. What did Wilson throw for? Like 70 yards when it was all said and done? It was abysmal.
Yeah, it was in the
Um,
90s, but yeah, it was
90s,
under
yeah,
100.
yeah, it was pretty bad. Mm.
Yeah.
So, anything to add to that game? I think, the takeaway
Nope.
is the Chiefs look like the Chiefs and the Broncos look like the Broncos.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, but okay,
Cool story, bro.
yeah, yeah. So, we can go over to London then, and
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about that.
Oh, we got to at least let Mikey be here for the Raven talk.
Uh, I figured he'd be back by then. All right, let's see. Hey,
Well,
he's back. What were you about to say?
hold on, he's
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah.
yeah.
What were you about to say?
before I hung up on you guys, I was about to say the Chiefs. The Chiefs are still not the Chiefs, and I still think they're going to be ousted if they make it to the playoffs. First game,
I mean,
done.
they're definitely going to make it to the
They go
playoffs,
no
and
more.
I think
They'll
They
they're.
will go
definitely
no
make
further.
it. Mm.
I mean, that's entirely possible. I'm not going to discount
One
that, because
game,
I do
they will
think
get beat.
I do
I
think
want to
that
see who
they're.
they line up against to make that decision.
Yeah, but I think their shortage of wide receivers is going to hurt them
I
in the once they get to the playoffs. But
I
I
agree.
I do think that they're playing very much like a team that is positioning themselves for the one seed pretty strongly. So we'll see, but we'll talk about that in a second. Because the biggest challenges to their one seed are, on paper, probably reside in the AFC North, but the AFC North is increasingly proving that it is going to be a bloodbath.
Oh God.
Um,
Well,
it
not to
is.
mention, not to mention when you look at their schedule, the Chargers games are always tough for them. does it. You never know how they're going to go, but they do have a game against Miami and Buffalo, and just on paper, those
Yeah,
games are 50-50 games, right? So if
Yep.
they drop
Yep.
one of those, Miami right there with them. Like,
sure.
and if they drop to Miami, now Miami's that one seed. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
maybe, but I mean that's the thing. Miami still has to play Buffalo a second time, and Buffalo did not struggle with
nope,
Miami, and and more teams are going to watch that footage. I
Miami
mean, I
has some
know,
tougher games for sure.
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, the Dolphins
Eh,
handled the Panthers pretty easily, but
Yeah.
but they should have
Who
handled the
doesn't?
Panthers pretty easily.
I was gonna say, who doesn't handle
yeah,
those idiots?
Well, but the
They've
Panthers kept
lost
it
me money
close.
every time.
But the
They do
Panthers
that. They keep
they
it close. They
they
do
kept it
that.
close for a half.
Yep.
right.
That's what they do. They keep my hopes up for a half because they're in all my bets because they're getting blown out, obviously.
Yeah.
So, you know,
So
but they crushed. They crushed.
let's move over to London, and you missed my prediction last week, and I think at the end of the day, Garrick ended up agreeing with me, was that the Ravens traveling at the beginning of the week was gonna really help them. The Titans coming over at the last minute was just gonna hurt. Um, I mean, I have to say it was good to see Henry look like Derrick Henry again. I mean, I hate him doing it against my team,
Mhm.
but it was nice to see him have some wheels for once
Well,
this season.
maybe it's an audition. I don't know if you've seen all the rumor mills out
I've
there.
seen, I've seen. Maybe it is.
Hey,
Yeah,
did did Tennessee really come over at the last minute?
they came over on Friday.
Like,
Yeah,
They arrived on Friday.
why did they have a late game? Did they play Monday night or something?
No, they
Like, why
made
did
the
they?
that was a that
conscious
was a
choice.
conscious decision. That was all it was.
Mhm.
That
Okay,
was very
I got
foolish.
you.
Yeah, it seems foolish.
That,
I mean, I will
yeah,
say, uh, you know,
They look flat the whole first half.
I will say that I was going to say they look flat for the
yeah.
first half. Um, the Ravens continue to struggle to put teams away early. Um,
We can't get score the. We need a Derrick Henry, quite frankly.
yeah, no, agreed. I mean, I think the running game just doesn't sort of get going until
No, we
Until
we
Lamar does it.
we struggled in the red zone this week, like
Yeah,
badly.
yeah, which is something we haven't done before this. But the
Yeah,
Titans D,
they were money
yeah,
in the
but
red zone. They were, I think, going in. They were,
I think
I
they were
think, the
number two.
top.
They were ranked, I
Oh,
think, number two in the red
number
zone.
two.
One or two in the red zone.
Yep.
Yeah,
But yeah, they struggled in the red zone this week. But I was happy to see Harbaugh. I mean, not hesitate to send Stover
Oh,
out there. I mean, Stover. Oh my
me
God,
too.
to
Me
send Tucker
too.
out there. I can't believe I said Stover. I'm really
I know you're aging us,
dipping
brother.
back in the well. But yeah, no, I mean, to see them send out Tucker, from like the 2 yard line. I'm
Oh,
like,
thank
I
God.
can't remember the last time Harbaugh did that. He's always going for that. I thought he really, hey, look, I think there will be times that you should go for that, but I didn't think any of the
Yeah,
the
but he
times
overdoes it.
he overdoes it because the analytics say, well, look, you're just going to pin him back and you can trust your
Hmm.
defense.
yeah.
But I think, I don't care what the analytics say for the Ravens. That seems to bite us
I
more
agree.
often than it doesn't.
I agree.
I was gonna say, I think we got to also, looking back at this last week, they are in London, that's fine, but I'm wondering if they're still learning Monken's office a little bit
Oh, for
because they've
sure,
got the weapons, but they're just not there yet.
for sure,
It
for sure.
doesn't look fluid, right? Like it feels very jerky.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of again, you know, we've talked about this before. It's not about how good you are in week 6, it's about how good you're playing in week 18.
For sure.
And one thing I have always liked about Harbaugh is I feel like, as a general rule, he does understand the season is 17 or now 18 weeks long, in a way that a
Yep.
lot of coaches don't understand.
Oh,
He
I
doesn't show
agree.
his
Yeah.
hand too early. He doesn't show, he is perfectly, well, like we've said, he's perfectly willing to win games by 3 points. And they do tend to step up towards the end of the season, and then you start to see the bigger wins once it becomes a more well-oiled machine. Like that is a
Hmm.
more typical of Harbaugh coach teams, is that I wouldn't
Yep.
say we start slow because we don't, but we scrape by early. before we start to, but he does always, the other thing, of course, is he always plays down to his opponent.
True, very true. Team
He
always does that.
He sort of what is the word I'm looking for? He gives it's too much credit to the opponent's ability to do things. And so he overcompensates for it, and then it ends up hurting us sometimes. So
yeah, he lets people hang around forever.
It doesn't have that sort of killer instinct.
Yep.
But and I mean, I've never really heard whether or not Harbaugh is considered like a player's coach or what. I've never really heard much talk about that one way or the other. He seems liked by his players, but he doesn't seem adored by his players in the way that some other guys are. So maybe he's somewhere in the middle. He's certainly not
Right.
Belichick. I mean, he's not obviously one of those guys like I'm drilling you like you're at military school.
No, but he's also not like McDaniel, where he looks like he's probably at the bar with everybody.
Right. No, he does not. Like he does seem to separate himself. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what my point was. I was going somewhere with that, but it's gone. But I was going to say though, one nice thing. It's nice to see Odell make a big catch this week.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see it. Did he? What did he do? I can't remember. Did he catch
a
touchdown or no?
No, it wasn't a touchdown, but it was a big like 39 or 40-yard reception.
Oh, you're right. I did see that. I did see that.
And the expectation on Odell for a lot of
people. He walked off the field, didn't he?
No, no. I mean, I think he came out the next play, just like he wasn't hurt or anything.
But I mean, at the end of the game, he walked off.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't.
Yes, that's a plus.
He was a
plus.
Okay, I mean, he was healthy, if that's what you're saying. Yeah.
It's rare.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing though, the expectation on Odell, from what I read in the preseason, was like, from Ravens fans, it was the expectation that he was going to have like 1,600 yards received. Well, I mean, from delusional Ravens fans, from like the fan groups, from the fan groups. The fan groups that come in every season, they're like with Monken, Lamar is going to throw for 5,000 yards. That's not. No, I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, from like the delusional heights of fandom, it was a 1,200, 1,400 yard receiving season for Beckham, right back to where he was with the Giants, and and all this other stuff. And but it was like
I just expect him to be a 1. Right, like if he's getting paid 1 money, I expect him to be a 1. Draw the 1 coverage, run the 1 routes. That's all. And what that ends up being, who cares? Like I just want to, because that's how Wilson Flowers and Bateman and even Andrews to some extent.
And I have to say too, I've been really, really pleasantly surprised with Aguilar, who I've never had. I mean, because as a first round pick, he's never been that.
He's a phenomenal number 4 or 3.
He's probably the best number 4 in the league.
My boy,
he's been really good.
The Frenchman had a big catch, I believe.
The big punt return.
His name. Yeah. Was that what it was? The punt return? I really like him. I really like the Frenchman.
I have been high on Duvernay, and Garrett can tell you, I've been high on Duvernay since we drafted him. I really liked him out of Texas. I thought he was going to be a surprise. I liked him and James Prochet, but Prochet obviously, never really panned out. But I like both of them. I thought they both had a skill set. I expected Prochet to do more punt returns until I saw Duvernay doing it, and I was like, oh man, no, he's very good at it. The biggest problem with Duvernay is he doesn't have that like elite speed at the end. So, he should have had a touchdown on that punt return, but he got knocked out by the kicker because he just like didn't have anything left in the tank to break away. At a time where he had a blocker, he just had to beat a kicker and he couldn't do it. Now, granted, I get it. That's 70 yards down the field. I mean, I would have gotten 3 yards before I died. So I get it. But yeah, I mean, that's the only thing is that like, you'd like, if I had as much space as he had, I could have gotten 3 yards. I'm 6'2". That's like the 3 yards is like 3 steps. I could have gotten 3 steps.
One end you fall forward.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I need. Fall forward with the ball, and I get 3 yards. I could have done that. But yeah, no, I thought the yeah, anyway, bottom line, I thought the Ravens looked really good. And I think the AFC North, though, is shaping up to be a bloodbath, which is what, we kind of always anticipate it's going to be. But I did think this year might be a little bit more of a two-horse race, and it is sort of seeming like it is not going to be that at all.
Yeah.
I still
No,
think the Steelers are the worst team in our division, but
I agree. But they're going to they're going to give everybody a fight.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Going from our bonehead coach who likes to make these weird decisions, let's just jump to your New York Giants again for just a minute. Because,
well,
the end of the half, deciding to run the ball versus spiking
that was
it.
not him. That was 100% not him. That was Tyrod Taylor. 100%. Really? Yeah, Tyrod Taylor. So, yeah, it was so, when you call in a play, there's always a number 2. Sometimes there's a number 3, an option to check down, right? Like at the line of scrimmage, to change the play. But and so whatever the deal was with that, Tyrod did the number two. Like, so he switched the play at the line of scrimmage. And it's always a thing where it's like, hey, this is the play we're calling in. But if you see this look, that is, you've got this linebacker lined up here, you've got this D-back lined up here. Then the call is, please don't pant into the mic. It's too much.
Oh, I was blowing smoke. Sorry. Panting.
Yeah. So whatever you're doing, huffing and puffing over there. So yeah, no, he did the number two, and so he switched it up. Now, under normal circumstances, that would be fine if you're like, between the 20s, but most of the time, like these quarterbacks are supposed to know, like the especially in that situation, the run option is off the table. You can't switch to it in that case. There's no timeout. There's no enough. It was an inexplicably boneheaded play by a veteran quarterback in Tyrod Taylor, who, I kind of get it. Like, you do sometimes, I think you get into a system, you get into a rhythm, and you're like, hey, the system is this. Like, if you see X, Y, and Z, you change to option B. Like, every time you see, and I think it was just one of those things where he just was like, option, oh, they're lined up in this way, so option B. And just dumb. Because no, you could tell that was not Dayball's call, because he chewed Tyrod Taylor out the entire way down the tunnel. And I remember they when they came back from halftime, they went to the sideline, whoever the sideline reporter was like, I tried to talk to Brian Daboll on the way, off the field. And she's like, I asked him this. And he was just like, look, I can't even talk about it. I'm sorry. I can't concentrate enough to talk about it. Like, he was out of his mind, livid with that whole situation. But I'll tell you what, like I feel like, I guess I have a horse in this race because I talked up the Giants to begin the season. I will say this: the Giants, honestly,
played great defensively.
Played great defensively. Phenomenal. They played well enough on offense with no Daniel Jones. Backup. Saquon looked pretty good, and I'll tell you, that last pass, 100% was should have been a flag. Waller, the way they had his sleeve pulled, so you could see he couldn't get his. He had one hand up and the other hand here, and the ref is right there. That was so again, one of those like inexplicably bad calls or bad no calls. You're standing right there, and he's, the arm couldn't extend, because if he gets that arm up, I think he can make that. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't catch it, but if that arm goes up, his hands are on the ball. And that, so they came that close to winning that game. And again, we've talked about it, maybe not here, but we've talked about it in general, that like, if you are in a position where a good or bad call is the difference in whether you win or lose, then you didn't play well enough to win. And that's the bottom line. And I get that. However, that was an egregiously bad call, and right in front of the
still
ref.
A bad call.
Yeah, still a bad call. And again, who knows?
Still a bad call.
You throw the flag. Maybe the next time Tyrod Taylor takes a sack 7 yards deep. Who knows? But it certainly was. It was that the chance at a victory was snatched away from them in that moment. There's no question. So on two consecutive plays, that Waller was interfered with. They're trying to get him his first touchdown this year.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, I was really glad to see a little fight out of the Giants. I thought I had a little bit more hope. The O line did a much better job. The defense played tremendous. I mean, the defense played well. The thing with that defense, I just want to say, like, the thing with that defense has been that they've got some talent there that seems to have been underperforming thus far, and
Sure.
so there is some sense that if some of the talent on that, especially in that linebacking core, guys like Thibodeau, whatever, they start to step up and play to their potential. I know Thibodeau's been disappointing so far, but he played a pretty good game. And, so they have some talent there that has underperformed. If they can get them where they need to be, then I think that changes the calculus for this Giants team. Again, the O-line is a problem. They played better. There's still a bit of a problem. But
Sure.
but they had
That,
Tyrod get rid of the ball fast all night.
that game told me equally as much about how much losing Milano means to the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the corner's name? I forgot his name. Tre'Davious White or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
White. Yeah.
losing those two guys, like their defense didn't look the same. They looked more, even though the Giants didn't exploit it, they looked a little bit more beatable.
Sure. Yeah, the Giants' big problem, it seems, moving forward is going to be that their defense really, assuming that wasn't an anomaly and is in fact, that they've figured some things out. Their biggest problem is that they just can't seem to score touchdowns.
Right.
That offense is really just so bad because the offensive line is so bad. Everything has to happen so quickly. But we'll see. I thought they did a nice job adjusting to that. A lot of quick hitters. Look, I've always liked Tyrod Taylor. I always thought he was a decent quarterback. I'm not sure that he's a starter in this league. I don't know that, but
I've always been a fan.
I always felt comfortable when he had to come into a game as a backup. I felt like our chances haven't diminished greatly. They've diminished from Flacco or whatever, but they haven't diminished greatly.
I thought he should have started.
What, over Flacco?
I was in that camp.
Yeah.
Yes. For a certain period of time, I was a big Tyrod guy. I was like, please, because he brought a different type. I thought we needed someone who could make it happen and get out of the pocket.
Yeah.
Or if Joe would turn around, like you say, you get frustrated with what's his face. Joe would do
Zach
the same
Wilson.
shit. He'd turn around and get faced in the wrong direction. And yes, Zach.
Yeah, Joe always looked like a deer caught in the headlights back there. But I think part of that is just Joe being Joe. I mean, it used to frustrate me to no end because it was always like, I just want to see this guy look like he cares that he threw a pick six, or look like he cares that he just threw a touchdown. It doesn't look like he cares either way, and I just couldn't stand it. And again, I mean, it's a bad thing to fault a guy for because your personality is your personality. But man, as a fan, it was like, does this guy? I mean, how many times did you see Joe Flacco on the sideline after throwing like a critical interception over on the sideline, yucking it up with somebody, and you're like, big smile over there talking to somebody, and you're like, and again,
yep.
That's a fan thing.
It's like it was recreational ball.
Like, yeah, it's fun. Like, again, that's perfectly fine. Like, I don't expect him to go and to go be down in the dumps. That would be bad too. But he just never showed any. He didn't look like he ever cared.
But you're talking about like the Brady effect. We saw that out of Tom Brady. Like, if he made a mistake on the field, he was pacing, angry, ready to get back on the field. Right? There was this passion that came out of him that. Like, you're absolutely right. Flacco never exhibited any of that, which made it hard to rally behind him.
Yeah, right.
And he doesn't care. Why do we?
And you know who they used to really get? They used to get pissed. They used to really want. They really wanted the Manning. It was like the Peyton Manning, because they used to get pissed after the interception, like you said, Brian, where he would just go over the sideline and he'd be like, just not really giving a shit, right? It's almost like he wanted to light up a cigarette and just relax. And like Peyton would go. he would go to the sideline and bury his head into like the books, and he'd look at the tape, and
Right.
he's looking at film, and
Right.
he's studying, and he's like, what did I do wrong? Like, and every
Yep.
week on the radio, they would start bashing him because of that thing right there, what you guys said
Yeah.
is they would
Mhm.
crush him.
Yep. All right. Well, we got to move on beyond the Ravens. Let's I mean, we all feel pretty good about them. This week, I think things came together nicely.
Who do they got coming up? I don't
They get
remember.
they got the Lions.
Yeah, Lions.
Ooh.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So
Nice.
I don't want to talk too much about the Dolphins game, except I just want to point out that I have been pretty hard on Bryce Young, and
Mhm.
I want to at least give the little bit of credit that's due. This was his best game as a professional so far, and it was still pretty bad. Made some pretty bad decisions. He looks like a guy who can't see over his own offensive line a lot of times. Like he
Yeah.
seems like a guy he's struggling to see the field. But he played. This was his best game, so I'll give him that. He made one or two like nice throws, couple pretty throws. But again, I don't know. I have no faith in Bryce Young at this point. I feel it's unfortunate, but I just don't think he's and the reason I keep harping on him, by the way, is because the Panthers could have had Stroud, but they took a meeting with Stroud, and they thought they thought he was too immature, and they liked Bryce Young because he was so smart. And it's
Mhm.
like, you know, he is a size outlier, so he would have to really be something special to be able to overcome that. And Kyler, like I understand the appeal of Kyler Murray. He's small, but man, he's so athletic. He's short but
Mhm.
athletic, but he's also more muscular. And he seems like, well, yeah, he's small but super mobile, super fast. He can get out of trouble, all that stuff in theory, right? So I get it. Young doesn't have any of that skill set. He doesn't have an elite arm. He's seems like a really nice, smart guy, but that's about I don't get it. So I can't help myself because I keep thinking about like how he's playing and the
Mhm.
fact that the Panthers could have had CJ Stroud, who arguably
Oof.
had his worst game as a pro. Maybe week one, but he seemed fine against the Ravens. They just couldn't really get it moving, but he didn't make any mistakes. And I
Mhm.
say his worst game because he threw a pick, finally, which
Mhm.
was great. Like he threw a pick and it was immediately fumbled, and the Texans got the ball back, which was pretty funny. So his one pick in
Mhm.
the NFL didn't even hurt him. Um,
Right.
you know, but man, and I watched Stroud's his post game when he was talking to reporters afterwards, and I listened to him breaking down a play, and he was just I was blown away by his maturity. Like that
Yeah.
they thought this guy was immature. I can't imagine what they thought because I'm listening to him,
Mhm.
and he's like, well, he says, he was like, well, you know, I remember when I was like, studying the plays, and I was watching film this week. I saw there was this one thing when I saw the defense do this thing, line up this way, that so I told my receiver, look, I want you to or I not receiver Dalton Schultz. I want you to. He's like, I want you to do this certain thing because I've seen it in the film, and I feel like this is going to work if you do this thing. And he was, of course, being a little cagey, but he was like
Mhm.
explaining it step by step what he had learned from film study, that he saw this look and he communicated with his tight end. And he's like, yeah, and at first, he's like, at first he didn't really understand, but then he got it. He's like, and then he threw a touchdown pass, and it was like,
Mhm.
this guy sounds like somebody who's been in the league for 6 years, not 6 games. You know what I mean? Like I was blown away by his maturity and like
Agreed.
his football acumen. I mean, just the work that he's clearly putting in. And
Yeah.
again, most rookies by week 6 are not like dissecting defenses. They
Mhm.
are,
Right.
they
Right.
are given the short leash playbook. I mean, they're slowing the game down for him and all this. And he's going, well, because I saw the linebackers in such and such a formation. I knew if Schultz, cut in, cut out, he was going to be able to. I mean, it's just it was. I was blown away by him. I am just more impressed every week as I watch him play. I have to
Yeah,
say,
for
and
sure.
And while they have Tunsil, on that O line, the rest of that O line is nothing special.
Sure.
I mean, they have Tunsil, who's probably the second or third best left tackle in the game. But
You
but
know,
after that, yeah.
I wonder if I was just thinking about it because the head coach is Ryan's, right? And his offensive coordinator is Slowick.
Mhm.
They were both in San Francisco last year, and if you think about it, they got used to seeing a young kid in Purdy actually do really well. So they may
Sure.
have been, perfectly aligned to the Texans to actually take a younger kid like Stroud and give him a little more freedom, which
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
is what's helping him grow at a faster rate.
Maybe. I mean, I thought that was a really impressive win, and I think the Texans probably not doing anything this season, one assumes, um, but I do think they're going to be a much harder out than anybody thought they would be, and I
Agreed.
mean, again, I don't see them making the playoffs in the AFC South, but I mean, it's not the strongest division. I mean, the Jags, the Colts, both seem beatable at this point.
Mhm.
You, you know, um, I don't know. I mean,
You know, they
I mean, I
are
left the
trending up.
Titans off that list because they don't seem like they're going to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, but they're trending up, so they're going to be
Yeah.
an interesting the rest of the season.
I mean, I don't think they can compete with the Jags at the end of the day. I mean, I mean, I know what happened when they played each other, but
Right.
I just think that the Jags, I mean, as Lawrence and Etienne and
Mm,
Ridley all get more comfortable with each other, Etienne in his own just in his growth and development, that's a trio of weapons. Plus they've got Kirk. They've just got a lot of weapons. Engram, I mean,
sure.
there's just a lot of offensive weapons, and the defense has underperformed for the Jags. I mean, I thought the defense would be better than it is. It's fine. I thought it would be
Mhm.
good. And I think by the end of the season, it still will be a good defense. I think right now it's a fine defense, but I think they'll
Yeah.
get there. Sorry, I wanted to say one other thing I forgot to mention about the Titans in the Ravens game, just to double back if that's okay, real quick. So, Tannehill, obviously he's cooked, right? Like we all agree that he just looks awful. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yes, yes.
so here I wanted to bring up two things. One was when Tannehill had to come out, they sent in Malik Willis. And I was a little bit surprised because I would have thought, they've seen what Willis could do. They saw it last year, which isn't to say he's not going to develop. I mean, I understand that. But you'd think they'd want to at least take a look at what Will Levin could do, you know, get a chance to see him in game action. But then, so I it made me a little curious. So I did a little digging in the Titans, some fan sites and the Titans, their own like actual news sites and all that stuff to sort of get a sense of this. And so I guess Malik Willis has just like, outperformed him at practice and in training camp and all this stuff. But then I'm starting to think that maybe Will Levin is like just a very stupid man and is having trouble learning the playbook and things like that. I mean, I think he's just a dumb guy, uh, which leads me to this.
Uh-huh.
Will Levin, Will Levin uh, does not peel bananas when he eats them.
What?
Will Levin does not
Are,
peel bananas when he eats them.
does he eat
Why
the
do
skin or does
wait?
he spit that out? Like, what's
No,
going
he
on here?
eats.
Why do you know this fact?
This is what I found out as
Like,
I did my little dig on like because I was trying to figure out. Well, because again, logic would dictate like, hey, Tannehill's, maybe coming out for a couple, like especially that first time, only coming out for a couple plays. Maybe you send in Levin, let him get a couple snaps under his belt. At
mhm,
that time where it doesn't seem critical, you've just got a couple of snaps. Like send him in there and let him get a feel for it real quick. Because Willis has had game experience. Why wouldn't you at least use that opportunity? Maybe at the end of the game you put in Willis. I understand that a little bit more because you feel like he's experienced. But it seemed like for one set of downs to have not even a set of downs for two downs to have Levin take two snaps seems advantageous in the long term for you. If this is a guy you think you're going to develop, how often do you have that opportunity where like, hey, look, just go in there and hand it off twice and then
mhm.
whatever, let's see what's happening with our starting quarterback in that interim time. But yeah, so in the process of looking all this up, I guess like I said, I spent a little time on some Tennessee sites and but that's not the weirdest thing that I learned. I learned one other thing about Will Levin
Tell me
that
more.
So, I don't know about you guys, but I like coffee. I'm a big coffee fan. Will Levin apparently is also a coffee fan, but he takes his coffee with mayonnaise.
What?
He puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
Like I do sambuca. This guy
Yeah,
just
no,
does
he puts mayonnaise
mayonnaise.
the way that some people put cream in their coffee. He puts mayonnaise in his
Oh
coffee,
no.
and not like a little dollop on top. He puts like mayonnaise in his coffee. So,
That's
You know, I'm I can't see it being terrible
well, I hate
because
mayonnaise, so I
it's
can.
gonna add a creaminess and a saltiness that will offset some of the bitterness of the coffee.
Okay,
It's, I'm not saying I want it. I'm just
it
saying
it might
that
offset the bitterness of the banana peel.
yeah. Does he dip it one and the other?
So, so no, I didn't get that detail, but I just wanted to point those two things out because it does. I feel like it goes a little bit towards my theory that maybe Will Levin is just a dumb guy, um, who perhaps doesn't know you're supposed to peel a banana, and perhaps doesn't realize that mayonnaise is not the same as cream. That's kind of what I'm wondering.
that could very
Anyway,
well be true, brother. That could
anyway,
very well be true.
sorry. I wanted to make sure I brought that in since I learned these interesting facts about old Will, and what a weirdo he
Wow.
is. Yeah, I
Huh.
I feel like you can't lead men on a football field if you put mayonnaise in your coffee. I think too many of them will just be going
The
like
hell?
what do you
Yeah.
mean you put it in your coffee? Like what does that mean exactly? Anyway. Um okay. So let's see. Anything else about the Texans Saints you guys want to discuss? The Saints continue to be like the biggest mystery in football.
For sure.
I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're good or not. I can't tell. Um, I know the Panthers are 0-6. They suck. So that's I at least know that. Uh, and I think it's hilarious that the Bears could end up getting Caleb Williams because the Panthers took Bryce Young.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that is to me the most fascinating part of the story is that if the pick that the Panthers gave up turns out to be Caleb Williams, who,
That's so
my God,
terrible.
looks like I mean again one of the best prospect in a few years. Um,
Mhm.
if he comes out, but I think he'll come out for the Bears. I mean, I think if I knew the Bears were going to draft me, I think I would come out because not that I mean, it's a messed up franchise. Don't get me wrong, but you've got the Chicago media market. He's going to make all kinds of endorsement money in Chicago that
Yeah.
that would make it worth coming out in a way that maybe going to I don't know. A lot of other teams wouldn't make as much sense. You know what I mean? Wouldn't
Yep.
be
Yep.
as lucrative.
Because if
Um,
Chicago turns things around, that's
yeah,
the
but I mean,
city
even
you
in
want
the
to be
first
in
year,
right
even if
there.
they don't turn things around, he's going to be advertising whatever
Fuck
the
yeah.
local equivalent of Wawa or Royal Farms is, or 7-Eleven or whatever. He's going to be doing commercials for the car dealership. He's going to be
Oh,
doing, what I mean, he's
Yep.
he'll be getting national commercials. Like
well,
he's not going to be hitting the local scene. He'll be getting the Nike deals and
oh,
all the
he'll
big stuff.
he'll do both. He'll be doing both.
Right.
Mhm.
I think that would be
I
true
mean,
in any market, though.
yes, but in Chicago, it pays more because the market's bigger. That's what I mean. So like, I think he would be willing to come out for Chicago. I mean, he might come out for anybody, but I would think, Chicago feels like, man, you could really go turn a franchise around, and a storied
Yep.
one and a big market, as opposed to Minnesota, which is not a big market, which is, you know what I mean? Like the incentive structure is just going to be different. I mean,
But Los Angeles would be. You think the Rams, Stafford's getting older. See
yeah,
them make play up
yeah,
top.
maybe.
Not the
But it
way they're
doesn't
playing.
matter. I mean, but that it doesn't matter. They're not going to have the number one pick, not in all likelihood.
Not
So it
unless they
doesn't.
trade it up.
Okay, right. I get that. What I'm saying is Williams will have to make some choice about whether or not to declare for the draft,
Mhm.
and he will make that calculus based on who has the number one overall pick. He's going to assume he's going 1 or 2, so he's going to have
Sure.
to make that calculus based on those data points. And even if he's wrong, he might go second or whatever. Maybe the Bears are like, no, Justin Fields is fine. I mean, who knows? But he has to make that decision based on the data that will be available to him when he declares, which is far earlier than like the Bears would be trading that pick or whatever. So if that's the case, I'm saying if I'm Caleb Williams, sure, there are certain markets where, again, look, I know Cincinnati's not in the market for a quarterback, but Cincinnati or Cleveland, those are not the same markets as Chicago. You're going to get a lot more. You're going to get a lot more national attention playing for the Chicago Bears than the Cleveland Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals or even the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe because of their storied history, you might get more, but still much smaller markets, or the Ravens for that matter, like just smaller markets. So that's my point. My point is it's looking more and more likely that the Panthers, I mean, they look bad, and could very well end up as giving that number 1 overall pick to the Bears, which is, and I feel bad for Frank Reich because I do feel like he's a good coach. And he's given, huh?
He has not been successful as a head
I
coach.
know, no, he has not. But he's good. I guess he's just one of those guys. He's a good offensive mind at least. But
Sure.
he also hasn't. He's never had that full team. So I don't know. The Colts have never been.
You just like him. You just like
Yeah,
the guy for his Maryland roots. You just like him for his.
I like him as the old Maryland quarterback. Yes.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Just admit that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. What else? Let's see. Washington, Atlanta. I don't know. That's the most unwatchable game of the week.
Yeah.
I don't even think I watched a bit of that.
I watched almost nothing.
The only thing I would say is Drake London is heating up. Like he's actually playing really well. But beyond that, it's messy. Both of those teams.
I think Ritter has shown enough now that he's not the guy. He made some baffling decisions in that game. A few really bad throws. I don't know. He seems overmatched at this point. I mean, who knows? I mean, he was a 3rd-round pick, so he's not like he doesn't have that 1st-round pressure. You give him a longer leash to develop, I guess. But I started while watching that game. The little bit of that game that I did watch, like a couple highlights and stuff. I thought, I don't know, Gardner Minshew might be a really good fit there, because they have some talent there in Atlanta. Excuse me.
He's not going anywhere.
Not right now, but I'm saying maybe next season. Minshew might be a real good fit for that team, because number one, he'd be affordable. And you can see they seem to be developing a team that really doesn't want to revolve around that quarterback. Yeah, they have. I mean, London, and you still have Cordarrelle Patterson, who is getting older, but he still seems to have a lot of tread on his tires. And you've got Bijan and not Etienne, but the one that's basically like Etienne. But thank you. I keep wanting to call it like it's the other French name.
That's right.
So they've got some position players there, skill players there.
No doubt.
And then they've got a good defense. I mean, they've got a defense that will keep them in games all year. So, just somebody to make. Although I'm bringing up Minshew, he was pretty bad this week, so it's a bad.
I was going to say that's a bold statement after last weekend.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen enough of Minshew to know that he's a decent quarterback.
I like him.
And I think he's a guy that. I'm not saying he's like necessarily a long-term solution, but he might be a guy that can get them till they find a quarterback they really want to draft. And he's a guy they might be able to bring a really, a more a higher pedigree quarterback in and let him learn behind Minshew. I mean, he seems like would be a good quarterback to learn. No, he's not the final answer or whatever, but he's certainly serviceable. And Minshew's a guy I feel totally comfortable if he's my starter in the NFL.
Me too. I like him. I really do.
Yeah.
If you're the Falcons, do you take a swing at Kirk Cousins?
Maybe with the same calculus, right? Like maybe Cousins makes sense because, if you're getting somebody who you think will be a caretaker quarterback for a year while you hope that you can draft somebody you really like, or you draft somebody in the 2nd or 3rd round that you take a flyer on again. Sure. Cousins doesn't have a lot of rubber left on his wheels. And
Don't talk about my boy like that.
So I mean, maybe in the same way you might take a swing
They
at
won
Stafford
again,
if the Rams
by the
move
way.
on, from Stafford or
Mhm.
something.
I mean, if
Yeah,
you think
so
you're a quarterback away, that's all I'm thinking.
I mean, I think the thing with Minshew is that he's young. He's still relatively young. Cousins is 36, I think, at this point. Maybe even
Sure.
older. And I think Minshew's probably right around what, 29, 30. If he's even 30.
Yeah.
So, I feel like Minshew's a guy that you could bring in, and he can help you do some things, and you could even wait a year or two to draft your guy. Yeah, he's 27. Minshew's 27. So I mean,
Mhm.
you could bring him in, and who knows? Maybe he works out. Maybe he doesn't. But in the short term, he's not gonna hurt you. You know that. And
Right.
maybe it buys you a year or two. Maybe it buys you a year for Desmond Ritter to develop. Maybe it buys you a year for another draft pick to develop.
Mhm.
Maybe you don't even worry about it until 2 years from now. You know what I mean? Like I think a guy like Minshew, given his age and everything else, buys you the time, and maybe you can put enough pieces around him that he's all you need.
Maybe. I feel
You
like
know,
he's going to be a perennial backup in some ways, which he's a good backup
well,
normally.
because he makes bad decisions occasionally.
Right.
He's too much, like it's that gunslinger mentality.
Hmm.
Um,
But without the talent to go with
Gunslinger.
mhm. But that said, one last little point that I will say about that I think about Minshew. Um, in some ways, maybe think about it like with Baker Mayfield. You he, the guy makes terrible decisions. He's constantly trying too hard to make something happen when he should just throw the ball away. He won't. He takes the sack, all this stuff that he's done for the first few years of his career. But now he's surrounded by enough talent that some of his own talent is finally starting to shine through.
it. Hmm.
Now, he's not a perfect quarterback. He still does a lot of the same dumb stuff, but there's enough
Absolutely.
talent around him, which he didn't have in Cleveland, that he didn't have in LA. I mean, well, it didn't matter because he was a backup in LA. He certainly didn't have in Carolina. And so, you go, all right, if the Falcons have a lot of talent around, on that team.
Hmm.
Minshew and one or two pieces. I mean, my God, think about it with London and Pitts and Robinson and Algier, and I mean, and then that defense. I mean,
Hmm.
you bulk up that offensive line just a tiny bit. You know, uh, get a second out, another, like, I mean, again, you could draft another you know um, field stretching wide receiver in there, and I don't know. I think a Gardner Minshew might turn out to be, a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I'm doing, uh, transaction trends and all this right this minute, but still, uh, that's what I kept thinking the whole time. Cause I'm like, Richardson obviously is the future of the Colts. Minshew's not there forever. If he had an opportunity, he's got a nice long audition right now.
Hmm.
And, he'd be crazy to come back as a backup if he has a good audition. That's all.
For sure.
So, but of course, this week he didn't. He looked terrible.
Yes, that's
But
absolutely true.
also that was the Jags looked really good this week too. So I mean, I'm not sure. They confounded him, and they are a better team than the Colts. I mean, they looked like a better
Jags
team.
look good like several weeks in a row now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was curious how they do coming back after a couple weeks in London. Like I did think that might mess with them as in the same way because they were gone so long, but
It did not.
no hangover at all.
Yeah, not
No,
at
they look
all.
great. But now no Trevor Lawrence, maybe?
Yeah, I
Mm-mm.
don't know. I haven't seen how serious
Really?
it.
I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
I
Mm.
don't think it was long term.
Yeah, I haven't seen either. There are a lot of quarterback injuries, this week. Um, so,
Hmm.
so speaking of quarterback injuries, your Vikings, Mike, they got to
Boom,
win
baby. They
now.
got another win. Gonna do it again. Gonna do it again. See, you like
They,
that?
uh,
I
they,
just put that together.
I think, it was pretty obvious once Fields went out of that game that the Bears were in a lot of trouble because
Yes, of course.
his backup, whose name escapes me because it was too painful to remember that guy. Man, what a talent drop off there was. PJ Daniels? Is that who it was? Something like that?
Oh, was it PJ
Is that what it
Daniels?
was? Something
No,
like
not
that.
PJ
Tyler
Daniels.
Bajan.
Oh, Bajan. PJ was where was PJ? Was somewhere
Yeah.
else.
PJ was yeah, Cleveland.
Yeah. Cleveland. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, God. I mean, well, we'll get to that game, but yeah, Tyler Bajan. That's right. That he just what a huge talent drop off from Justin Fields to him. You really got a sense of what it would look like if the Bears really had a really talentless quarterback. But boy,
The
once
funny thing
Justin,
is his numbers are better
but it was
on the day.
but did you watch that? I actually watched that game, and it
No,
was his numbers weren't really. I mean, his numbers were better. His play wasn't. Um, he hit a lot of there were a lot of short safe passes that he's able to rack up a few things on like nothings.
sure. Gotcha.
Whereas Fields did a lot of damage with his feet because there wasn't. I mean,
That's
Dante
the one
Foreman.
difference you can tell.
I would say Foreman looks on paper like he had a decent game, and he did, but only when Fields was in, because Fields, the
Right.
respect that they have to pay Fields opened up the field opened things up for Foreman. As soon as Fields was gone, the Bears
Sure.
they could not do anything on the ground, and so they started this dink and dunk stuff that didn't go anywhere. It resulted in some yards, but it wasn't much of anything. Um, I mean, because again, I feel like having watched that game, I think if Fields stays in that game, I think the Bears pull out that win.
Hmm.
But I mean, who knows? Justin Fields did not. It wasn't like he played great or anything, but he is still talented, especially running the ball. And that opens up some throws.
Sure.
But yeah, the Vikings look terrible. I mean, I'm sorry, the Vikings without Justin Jefferson looked terrible.
Yes.
You know,
They're in
um,
for, they're in for a rough week.
they are in for the rest of the season. They are in till week 10. They're going to struggle to win
What was
games.
his injury again? How long is he out?
He's out till week 10 at the earliest.
Yeah.
At the earliest. Okay.
Yeah, so 4 more weeks at the earliest.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And we'll see because at that point it might not make much sense for him to hurry back.
Yeah. It'll
Sure.
depend on where they stand here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and the Lions are 5-1 for crying out loud. I mean, they're going to be,
They're going to win the division in like 3 weeks.
yeah, it's looking pretty good for them. Nothing else to say about that game, I don't think. Do you guys have anything to add? That was another stinker, really.
No.
So I do want to talk a little bit about the Niners Browns because number one, the injury. I mean, no Debo Samuel, no C-Mac, and
Mhm.
I think once you had that situation, the limitations of Brock Purdy were finally on display for everybody to see. Like,
Sure.
I think because I mean, I think we talked about it last week. He's got so many weapons that I said to you, the thing is, he doesn't have an elite arm. He doesn't have that elite arm strength or that elite arm, and
Right.
he hasn't
Yeah,
needed
but
it. And it's
I was going to say, yeah, but they were still within a field goal of winning that game that got missed. Like, so he
Mhm.
did it when it was needed. And the other thing is, not every defense in the league is going to be that Cleveland Brown defense.
absolutely
Like,
hey, look, no, I still think the Niners are fantastic. But
mhm.
all I'm saying is that, like, I think that there are a lot of teams that will see how, that Purdy, they saw Purdy's weaknesses on display. And people will try now that they finally have some tape to put to that, because there really hasn't been any tape to show where Purdy is vulnerable. Now they have some. And yeah, it took C-Mac and Debo going down. I get it. But that will give people some tape to look at to see what he can and can't do, because there really hasn't been anything since college. You know what I mean? I think that teams will be able to game plan for him better than they have to this point. So,
but when they're fully healthy, good luck.
but and the other thing is, yes, they look, they're a missed field goal from winning that game, and yes, of course, not every defense is going to be the Browns' defense. However, the Browns' offense was horrific that whole game. Horrific.
Hey,
I mean,
what's the deal with your boy?
my boy
at
Deshaun,
quarterback there. Yeah, what's your deal with him?
he's a clown. Yeah, that was weird
But
because all week long they kind of said that he was going to be able to start, and then he came out and he threw in the pregame, and then he was like, "No, I'm not going to do it." He's like, "No,
now is
no."
there what's the reason? What's the injury? Is it a shoulder or
Shoulder?
Yeah, it's a shoulder injury.
It's a
shoulder?
shoulder injury. So yeah,
Okay,
he was available all week. They thought, and then
Was he practicing? Do you know?
well, no, I shouldn't say it was just before the game because no, they announced that he wasn't going to start a couple days earlier.
on
But
Friday.
he came out and threw on what day was it?
It was on Friday when they announced he was going to be out.
Okay, yeah, because he had thrown all week, and then I guess Friday he came out and threw, and he was like, "No, I can't do it."
I don't remember I don't remember the exact diagnosis, but I just remember hearing that it's a deeper muscle thing inside the shoulder,
Sure.
and so that's why they're taking it so careful. Otherwise, he may end up having to have surgery.
Yeah.
And he's got to be.
What, Mike?
Oh, I was just going to say he's got to be banned from any massage parlors. So he can't go to therapy or anything like that.
That's correct. They have his face is on the door of every behind the counter of every massage parlor in Cleveland.
Do not hit the girl.
Massage parlor in Cleveland is a phrase that I didn't expect to utter tonight, but that's all right. Or to think about. Yeah, no, I mean, I think though, yeah, the Niners, sure, the Niners are not going to have to face that defense. And what's the story with I think they said the C-Mac injury seems like it's going to be week to week. I mean, from what I saw, it doesn't seem like it's that serious.
Oh, what's wrong with that guy? That's my boy.
I think it's his ankle. But there were three big injuries they had C-Mac, Debo, and then Greenlaw on their defense.
On defense, yeah.
And they came out today that none of them are long term. They all are just week to week.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Niners are going to be fine. I mean, I think I was really, I've been really impressed with the Browns with Denzel Ward. I remember when they drafted him, and then we facing him twice a year. Have always thought, he seemed good, but I never really thought. I don't know. I think he was drafted like 4th overall or something crazy like that. And I never really thought he was that. He didn't seem like that, but he does now. He seems like it's taken a little while to get there, but he definitely seems like certainly a top 5 D-back. And
sure,
they are. That defense is relentless.
It's a stout defense for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question.
If their offense can get any kind of legs, like that's a dangerous team. Hurts not having Chubb.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing that's going to keep them from doing anything is that although Ford has done a nice job, he's also not Nick Chubb.
And Hunt had a good week this week.
Yeah. I think
he's 3rd or 4th week back now.
Yeah, he has it's a nice rotation. Ford is proving to be a decent back. And sure. Hunt's right back into that old role, right, of the change of pace guy. Yeah. And he really excelled there, like in that role for the Browns. So yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, nothing to say. The Niners still probably look like the best team in football. When you got a rookie missing a field goal like that to win it, you worry or wonder what that does to him moving forward because he's a rookie. Yep. Those things can, But other than that, so now my pick's going to be the Niners lose the NFC Championship game on a missed field goal. Because the pressure, because he gets it in his head.
He chokes. He
can't win the big game. So
I like it. I like the prediction.
All right. Raiders, Patriots, nothing to say except the Patriots may be the worst team in football other than the Panthers. Certainly.
Oh my God, they're awful.
Yeah. Certainly the worst team in the AFC, like unquestionably at this point.
And I don't want to get into all the chatter around does Belichick need to go, the
Yeah,
GM, the coach, or both, and all that stuff because it's going to be changes will have to come based on the way this season's going unless it turns around.
I'll tell you what. Things are going bad for you if you're the Patriots when uh, Donald J. Trump, Donald J. Trump is making fun of your team. Um, so I saw this week that Trump was in New Hampshire, in Patriot country, and he said something like something about being a winner, and he says, winners usually like the Patriots, but this year, not so much, not so much. The Patriots, not so good down there. They'll probably figure it out though, huh? Just not so good. I was like, woof. Donald Trump's making
Uh-oh.
fun of you guys. It's bad.
Him,
And he loves the Patriots. He loves
him and
Bob. He
Bob.
loves Bob Kraft.
Yeah.
They just
Him and Bob
awful.
must be fighting.
Yeah, they are awful. So yeah, it's bad omen for the Patriots that Trump's making fun of them.
I have a feeling that this might be the last maybe couple years of Belichick there.
Couple years, man.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if he's not gone at the end of the year.
Yeah,
You think so?
he's giving up one of those roles. They don't have any talent on that team. When you look at that team, it's just barren. And it's and then you got to fault him as the GM for that.
No,
to some
they
extent.
have one talented person on that team, Ramondre Stevenson.
I was going to say Stevenson. That's the only.
He is the talented man on the team, and he's completely wasted there.
Well, I mean, it's going to be his decision. It's going to be Belichick's decision.
No, sir, it is not.
I would think. You don't think so?
They're going to let him go gracefully, but it will 100% not be his choice.
You have to step down.
I could see them saying he has to step down from GM duties, but he'll remain the coach. I could see a scenario where that.
Yeah, happens. I could definitely see that. I'm thinking more in lines of the coach role than
maybe
GM, but
I mean I could see that too. But then you go, does a guy like Belichick take that hit to his ego? And I don't know.
Well, that puts the onus on him then. But if you're the team trying to do right by him,
he always been? That's
the way you do it.
He's been the GM for 3 years now. Is that right?
Has he always been the GM? 3?
No.
Oh shit.
How long?
I thought.
I think you're right. It's something like 3.
Yeah, something like 3. It hasn't been that long. It's but a few years. And I mean, even look at the guys that he's drafted. Like, where's N'Keal Henry? Right? I mean, you look at what's his name out at Las Vegas. The wide receiver. No, the wide receiver. Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Myers in Las Vegas and look at what he did with the Patriots. Myers is a good receiver, it turns out. He was the most mediocre receiver in New England. Like I think you're starting to see that Belichick is not good at drafting, and also maybe the game's passed him by. Like he's not. He does not know how to get the most out of his players anymore.
Yeah, we talked about it. It's a lot like the Landry effect, right? Where you hate to see it, but it's done in some capacity. So
if Belichick doesn't have a 5'7" white guy receiver who can go across the middle, I just don't think he's got an offensive game plan. He just needs to find him. Yeah, well,
they don't have.
You gotta have it. You gotta have an Amendola to spell your Welker.
That's right.
I mean,
or your Edelman.
You need you need an Edelman to follow up your Welker, so you can trade Welker for somebody. I don't know who they even got.
Yeah.
So and the Raiders. I mean, Jimmy G is down. I mean that team. This is again one of those games. It's just like I thought the Raiders were going to be more entertaining this year. Jimmy Garoppolo. I've said before. I think he's just a dumb guy. I mean, he's obviously a dumb guy. I mean, he's just a meathead, and God bless him. He's one of those people, huh?
I really felt like it was going to be a step down from Carr, and that doesn't make me like a huge Carr fan, but Carr is
I'm not
better
a
than Jimmy
yeah.
G is.
Yeah.
I regrettably have to admit that, yeah, I never would have said that. I hate Carr, and I still do. I don't think he's that good, but he's definitely better than Jimmy G.
Yeah. He's got a better arm than Jimmy G. Carr, Carr
Yes,
does,
for
but
sure.
but
For
but
sure.
Jimmy G is supposed to be Kirk Cousins, right? Like that's supposed to be his skill set, is like guy who can come in, manage a game, make a couple big throws, but by and large, protect the football,
Yeah.
don't make big mistakes. Occasionally, because he is a big dumb guy, he will occasionally make a stupid decision, but like
Mm.
mostly you manage the game pretty well. And you've got Myers and Adams to throw to. Like, what more could you possibly want? You got Jacobs to hand the ball to, right? Like you have the talent there, at least with
Sure.
those three guys. But
Now it's the Brian Hoyer show.
yeah, is that who they've decided to go with? Is Hoyer?
Yeah, and I mean until Jimmy G comes back.
I'd like to see O'Connell get some more time because I thought he looked all right in his debut. Um, but I mean, not necessarily special, but I thought he played well. But whatever, Hoyer, boy,
And maybe
Hoyer
they
is.
will.
I mean, Brian Hoyer just feels like the definition of the mediocre backup. But remember when the Browns named Brian Hoyer as their starter coming out of camp? I do. They were like, this guy gives us the best chance to win.
Mhm.
Uh,
Kirk Cousins is having a hell of a year. Am I seeing these stats correctly?
I
Looks like
mean,
Kirk Cousins is having a great
That's because
year.
they're always playing from behind.
right. Yeah, so he's got to throw for a
I
million
like that.
yards.
He's winning.
That's the problem is he's
It's all
not.
right. They're winning.
What do you mean they're winning?
But I mean, in yardage, he's like second as far as I think this is second in the league as far as I see here, if I'm seeing this correctly.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt
Far
that.
behind. To
Well,
touchdowns 14 and 400 picks, and I see like 14. I think that's the tied for the league lead in touchdowns. He's got fairly low interceptions for 67% completion percentage. That's up there with the upper percentage.
I mean,
I
all of
think
that
this
stuff
guy's.
sounds great
I
if
just.
he's your fantasy
I
quarterback.
think he's just very underrated. I think he. I wish he was. I
I
just think he's a little underrated. Let
I
me
don't think
see
he's
here.
underrated. I think most people think he's a good quarterback. I mean, I think
I think they.
everybody in the league thinks
I
he's a
don't
good
think
quarterback.
so. I just think most people crap on the guy.
I think most people think he's boring, but he's a good quarterback. I mean, that's what I think. I think
Yeah,
he's not
true. He
he's not
is. He
exciting.
is.
I mean, he's not
No,
he's
he's
not
not.
getting
He's
a big endorsement deals because who the hell wants to see Kirk Cousins doing endorsement deals?
not.
I mean, he's I'm sorry,
You're
but like
right.
he's boring as shit. He stands in the
No,
pocket, he
there's no question.
delivers the ball in time. That's fine. Like I said, he does Peyton Manning duty, but in an era where nobody wants a Peyton Manning quarterback. I mean, that's just I'm sorry. Watching Lamar do things that only Lamar can do, watching Mahomes throw passes that are basically submarine pitches, like under a defender's arm that arcs up over a linebacker and drops down for a 72-yard touchdown pass. And you're like, nobody on the
I
planet
can
could
do
make
that.
that throw except for
Listen, though,
Mahomes.
can
And
I?
I mean, and Cousins is three
I
step
can.
drop,
I can
deliver
literally
the
do
ball.
that.
That's great. It's fine, but it's not exciting. You know what I mean? It's not exciting in this NFL.
Are the
It's just
Vikings?
not.
The Vikings were 2-4.
Yeah, they're 2-4.
yeah, you're watching
Are
the
the Vikings
Vikings
only two and
because
four?
you're watching for Justin Jefferson.
Right,
That's why you're watching.
right. And I mean, for me, I mean, I was hoping that Alexander Madison would actually be good. I have liked
Oh,
him as a backup.
sure. I agree with that
Um,
totally.
the past few years in fantasy football, for example, I'm always watching Dalvin Cook. Like if he goes down, I'm immediately on the waiver wire for Madison because he's always come in and done really well. But man, he just not a starter. Which whatever that happens. Like when he has started 2 or 3 games in a row, he's played really well. He is not good at it without the
Yep.
like I've got to step into somebody else's shoes or whatever.
Well, he's always coming in later in the season, so he's fresher than the teams he's going up against.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's always that stuff to consider.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Vikings are cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, again, it's not a knock on Kirk Cousins. It's just like I've heard him interview, and I'm just like, he's just a super milquetoast guy. I mean,
He
he
is.
seems
So,
like a nice guy.
however, he did get the ultimate fired up award that one night, right? You like that? You like that?
So
I
predictable.
mean, he
Yeah.
did. He did get the ultimate fired up award. So you can't say he's totally boring.
No, I can, and he
He
is.
jumped out of his shoes that night
Yeah.
and pointing at the media. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's boring as shit. And I mean, I'm just sticking with that. I mean, and again, like, I'm not making a judgment about his ability as a quarterback. It's a good quarterback, but that doesn't make him exciting. But I mean, like, that's
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Jimmy.
I'm not
Jimmy, look here.
arguing.
People like Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, on some level, because he's traditionally very handsome guy. So I think people want to see him succeed because he like feels
Looks
like
like
a
the
really
All-American boy,
he's got
right?
he's a square jawed,
Yeah.
looks like a superhero. I mean, he just has that face. I mean, he does. He's a good looking dude. And and again, square jawed, and he's got a big dumb guy smile, and people love
Yeah.
a dumb meathead jock. They love a handsome meatheaded jock, and that is, my God, that is what Jimmy Garoppolo is. I mean, the man is as dumb as a box of hammers, but he is, but he, but but he's did you guys ever watch 30 Rock?
No.
No.
So there's an episode with John Hamm where he stars, where he comes in as a guest star as Tina Fey's boyfriend in the show. And in the episode, John Hamm is a doctor. But basically, it's the whole gag is that because John Hamm is a very good looking guy, which of course, he is a good looking guy, that like people treat him differently because he's handsome. And so like his whole, like, people are just constantly like giving him things and like, oh sure, it's a bit of a gag on the whole life is easier when you're good looking, right?
Mhm.
And at one point, like, Tina Fey kind of, in her character, is like, basically he comes and picks her up on a motorcycle, and she's like, oh, I didn't know you rode a motorcycle. He's like, I don't. Like, this guy gave me his motorcycle, or this person gave me the motorcycle. And he goes up and he's just wobbling down the road, and it's just a complete nightmare. And he talks about medical school and how easy it was. Most of his teachers just like loved him so much. He's like, it was a breeze. And so you start to figure out that like he's a doctor because everybody liked him because he was handsome. He, like, the first time he had to, like, he goes into a restaurant and he has to actually like pay for it. He's like, no, I'm a doctor, like, or whatever. Like, he's completely dumbfounded by like
I
how
love
normal
it.
people live. And anyway, I kind of feel like that's Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, he is not very good at this because he's never really, because he just looks the part. And I mean, he's fine,
hmm
but I think
Right.
every year I feel like there's a lot of hype about him, and it's like he never lives up to it. And I've
No,
really
you're
just
right.
at this point, I've come to the conclusion that it's just like the NFL and a lot of other people or a lot of interests want him to succeed because, my God, they want to put him on a 80-foot tall billboard,
Yeah.
so that he could be standing there with his hands on his hips with Mahomes and somebody else back here. And then, they put
Mhm.
Lamar as like the last guy back, but he's on the poster,
You're right. You're
because I
right.
love Lamar, but Lamar is not a handsome man.
Of course not. He
God
looks
love him.
terrible.
He's not
He looks
a
terrible.
great looking guy.
Awful.
I love him.
Ugly stick.
you know, so, and I mean, I'm sorry, I notice these things. I look at the placement when they do these ads, and I'm like, man,
Of
poor Lamar is
course.
always back there on the back corner, or like halfway back where he's a little out of focus. I
Yep.
mean, there are
In
decisions
the
being made
front.
about these things.
Yep. Yep.
There's a reason we see the Kelsey brothers in every freaking commercial, and we see
Yeah.
Travis more than Jason. I mean, like,
Yep.
Travis is a good looking dude, and they both seem likable as shit. I mean, they seem like the night, like, the most likable guys.
Yeah.
Travis is a little bit more handsome. He's got a couple more deals.
And
Mahomes has a ton of
girlfriend.
commercials because Mahomes is a photogenic guy.
Yeah.
They wish Jimmy
The girlfriend
Garoppolo.
doesn't hurt.
Well, yeah, but all those deals came long before that girlfriend.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think like the NFL marketing department is just like, oh God, please Garoppolo, be good, be good, be good, be good.
Mhm.
I mean, they're
For sure.
desperate
Yep.
for him to be good, and I get it. I mean, I get it. But oof, he's just he is who he is. We know who he is. We can stop pretending that he's something other than what he is. I don't know why we keep doing it. I guess they figure they'll sell more ladies' jerseys or something. I don't even really know what the deal is, but yeah. Anyway, all right. Lions took care of business. 5-1.
Yeah.
I'm ready to fully admit that I was wrong about the Lions. They're one of 3 5-1 teams in the NFL. I don't think that they've been as impressive as the other 2 5-1 teams, but maybe as impressive as the Eagles actually, but not as impressive as the Niners. That's for sure.
This week
Um,
was impressive. Was an impressive win though, because the Bucks have actually been a really good team.
Yeah,
Right. They
no,
were
for
3-1 coming into that game.
sure.
So I mean, they were looking like a
And
pretty
coming off a bye.
yes.
Yeah, so
I
they had an
mean,
extra week to prepare and did
held them
not
with
prepare well.
6. They just held it with 6. Like
Yeah, well, that is the thing. Now, I mean, look, Hutchinson as advertised. But did they draft him second overall?
I think so. It was
Yeah,
something like that.
second or third.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like that. He looks like he should be drafted second overall.
Yes. Absolutely.
The rest of that defense is still suspect. I mean, I think it is pretty remarkable seeing how much that one guy is able to disrupt, like to open things up for other guys to disrupt a passing game. Because that is really what's as he is requiring double teams and a chip.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
opening a lot of things up.
He's a monster.
Yeah, he's tough to stop. This week will be a big test. We'll see what Big Morgan Moses can do to slow him down.
That
I
matchup. I'm sure we'll scheme for it, but we have to. Like he's the next guy. Like if they're not talking about him in the same breath as like Micah Parsons and some of these guys, like they should be, because he is a wrecker.
yeah,
I mean,
and my boy Sam Laporta.
Father Laporta.
I gotta tell you, I mean, I said it tongue in cheek that he was going to be the offensive rookie of the year, and you're like, when was the last time a tight end was that? And I'm like, yeah. But I think this kid's going to be really special. That's my one prediction that has come true so far. Has been right
Yeah.
or been dead right about that.
yes,
And
you are.
yeah, I really like Sam Laporta. The Ravens, I think the Ravens have the best defense against tight ends in the NFL. Whatever that means. I mean, which just means that Patrick Queen is really good sideline to sideline, and Roquan gets in the middle of a lot of those passes. So I assume that that's what that means. And hey, by the way, sorry, shifting to the Ravens for a second. How great was the Kyle Van Noy pickup? I mean, what a great waiver wire pickup that was.
For sure.
I mean, or waiver wire pickup, the free agent signing.
Yes.
I mean, I think he's 32.
It's surprising that he was just sitting out there like that.
I can't believe it. And when I saw that we signed him, I meant to bring it up, but I forgot. I thought that I was like, he's got to be like 36 or 37, and that's why he's just sitting out there. He's like 32, which is like he's playing like he's got 2-3 more good years of football in him.
Yep,
which
agreed.
would make sense. What a great pickup. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to throw that
And
out there.
maybe it was his decision. Like maybe he's like, I'm not signing till part of the way of the season when I get a read on things, because he wants to join a team that maybe has a shot.
Yeah, maybe.
Like it could be. I mean, he's a vet, so why not?
Trying to play for a ring. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, because it is wild that he was just sitting out there. I mean, anyway.
He didn't sign with Carolina, so I mean,
yeah, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, no, Lions Ravens this week. It's in Baltimore, isn't it? If I recall.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, it's going to be a good matchup.
I might go down there for that one. Actually,
you should. That'll be a good one.
If I'm back.
I mean, it'll be really interesting to see if. I mean, the only thing with the Ravens is with no Ojabo, no Owe. the pass rush, just not getting to the quarterback like we need to, and we really miss Owe. I'll tell you what, though, Clowney has really impressed me. I mean,
Yeah.
he
I
doesn't have the
forgot about
numbers.
him. I forgot about
He-
him.
He's been playing really well.
He doesn't have the sack numbers. I mean, like when you look at his stat line at the end of the season, he's probably not going to look like he was worth, that he was worth signing, because he doesn't have
Right.
any, he doesn't have a lot of tangible stats, but he is constantly in the backfield and constantly in a quarterback's face. I mean, he is. I've been really impressed at how much he is flushing a QB out of the pocket, and I mean, really disrupting things. Even if he's not been finishing the play as much as I'm sure he'd like. And you figure over the course of a long season that should balance out at some point, you would think. Meaning you
Yep.
can only you disrupt. The sacks are going to come.
Right.
And
Agreed.
I really hope they come this week. But Goff looks awfully good.
He looks great. The whole team
Montgomery looks great.
better.
I
That
think
whole Montgomery's hurt now.
Oh, is he?
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't see that. How is he out for
Yeah,
the week?
I can't. I'll look it up. I can't remember if it's long term or not.
Okay. I mean, I think Gibbs probably comes back this week. I think from what I remember, I thought his injury was just a 1 or 2 weeker. But I didn't even realize Montgomery was hurt. Leg injury? I'm guessing. Is that?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's sorry, shoulder injury. Sorry, left
Okay.
shoulder.
Okay. I didn't even see it.
I don't see what it's saying right now, so
Okay.
I'll keep looking though.
Yeah. No worries.
Anyway, with him getting hurt, definitely changes that offense. So
For sure. And yeah, like I said, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think might be back this week, but last I looked, he's still listed as questionable for the week, but I thought they were expecting him back this week, but who knows? Yeah, it should be a good game. See if the offense can actually finish drives. That would be nice for the Ravens.
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
Goff looks good. They've got a
I
good
like
receiving
Goff.
core.
I like Goff a lot.
Yeah,
Big
Goff
fan.
looks good. And
Big fan. I'm a Goffer.
With Amon-Ra and Josh Reynolds, they have a pretty good 1-2 punch at that wide receiver. And Reynolds stepping up with no Amon-Ra looked pretty good. I mean, he did all right. Like I said, obviously Sam Laporta. Again, the biggest thing with the Lions seems to me, you have to know you're going to give up 20 points. You've got to try and score 28. So we'll see what the Ravens can do. It seems like they are an offense that can be held to, somewhere in the 20 to 28 range. You just have to put up more than that. And that defense is exploitable. You might have to run at Hutchinson all day until you are able to open some bigger things up. Run at that blitz, or that rush, not blitz, run at that pass rush. And I mean, I figure they'll scheme for that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Cardinals, Rams. Cardinals continue to, like you said, usually by about week 6, teams start to tighten up and start playing well. And the Cardinals are starting to show what we kind of thought they were going to be. And honestly, even some of their decision making is a bit baffling. Like they had that because Connor is done. Is Connor done for the season? James Conner?
He's on. No, I think he's
on IR.
He's on IR for like the set to return version.
Okay.
I don't remember how many weeks.
So they had that last week, that kid Mercado, something like that, who looked pretty good. I mean, came in and had a couple big gainers and looked nice, and you go, oh, well, clearly this will be the guy they run with, because he showed some stuff. And they're like, oh no, we got this guy coming off of the DL.
Yep.
We're gonna run the ball with him, and he does nothing. Demercado or whatever gets like 2 carries or something. You go,
they didn't even use him.
And you go, I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, this is your guy who's number 2 on your depth chart. I get it. He's back from injury, sure. But when you see that's not working, why wouldn't you at least, because it wasn't a blowout quickly, became a blowout. You know, I mean,
Right.
like, but there was a time early in that game, you know, especially when you're the Cardinals, where you're like,
Mhm.
you know, running the ball, you're going to run the ball sometimes just because, just to try and, shorten up that game a little bit so that it doesn't become an embarrassment. The clock is your friend in that. I don't know. It's just bad football on the part of
Everybody
the
thinks
Cardinals
they're
this
trying
year.
to tank them. Everybody thinks they're trying to tank on the season anyway.
Well, that's what everybody thought, and then they came out and won a game or two and played
They
really
won
well.
one. Yeah.
Won one.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, maybe they were like, let's get one and then we'll shut it down. So we'll
That's
see.
right.
So now we got the last games from the week were like all fantastic football games. I have to say, it's like a great way to end the week. Eagles, Jets, man, good for the Jets. I mean, that defense,
For sure.
outstanding, just unbelievable. I have to say again, I don't think Jalen Hurts looks right. It doesn't.
No.
I mean, or maybe he never looked right, and he just happened to be on like the most talented team ever assembled last year, because it really was like the most
Mhm.
stacked roster that I can remember in a long time.
For sure.
But he just
Yeah.
Hasn't really changed much though. The roster hasn't changed a lot. The
mm,
defense maybe a little bit, but not on the offensive side. They got Swift.
I know,
Like they, if anything, they've upgraded at that position.
I know
I feel
Swift.
like last year every other play was a deep pass to Brown. I feel like every time I watched them, he was wide open. And then if he wasn't wide open, Hertz would be able to scramble for 20 yards. He was much faster looking than he is this year.
Yeah,
Like this year, he looks like he's slower, and Brown's not open. I just don't see the same connection. I don't see the
Mhm.
same offense. It seems like they're using a different playbook
Well, they are.
this year. Are they? I didn't know. I didn't have no
Like
idea.
their offensive coordinators, the head he where did he go? He became the head coach. Um, isn't he in Indy?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Steichen, right?
It,
Or what I think it's there.
Steinken,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean they do have an offensive coordinator and that could be
yeah.
part of it because there's definitely not a fluidity to their offense like there was last year.
yeah,
It
you could totally tell.
I mean, Hertz looks I don't want to say he looks lost because I mean they are 5-1. I mean,
For
let's
sure.
not chicken little this thing, but
For sure.
he does not. I mean, like last year, that team just looked like they could score at will when they wanted to. They
They
looked like
look
they,
the Niners have
Hmm.
looked all year, basically, up
Yeah,
until this
they
past
were
week.
smoking teams.
Yeah,
all the way up until
absolutely.
the Super Bowl,
Yep,
Right.
right?
yep,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, even the way that I mean, they got Goddard involved a lot this week and last week, but like even the way Goddard hadn't been involved in the first like 4 weeks
Mhm.
of the season was like, what is going on over there? DeAndre Swift, yeah, looks much better than Sanders did. I mean, he Swift looks like the guy most of us thought he was going to be in Detroit. He just
Mhm.
never was. I mean, he looks great.
Mhm.
You've got maybe the most dynamic 1-2 punch at wide receiver in football. I mean, you know, arguably whatever, but like,
There's several we could debate that on right now, but
yeah, of course,
it's
Hmm.
but like,
absolutely a
Hmm.
good one.
but
I
they're
can think
but
of
they're one of
four
them
on
in
the
the
top of my
conversation.
head. Oh, I can name four other pairs that would equal them. You've
Sure,
got Waddle and Tyreek,
of
right?
course, of course.
Chase and Higgins. I would
Yeah,
put
and
there.
with the Bengals, you've got it's like Chase Higgins and Boyd. You
Right. And
like,
Boyd. And then
yeah,
you got Nakua and Cup,
yeah,
right? I mean, there's another one I'm forgetting, but like there's quite a few good pairings around the league.
sure, sure, no question. But like that's what I said.
Mm.
Arguably the most dynamic duo. Um, and again, I mean, I'm not making that
They're in the
argument. I'm saying
they're in the conversation for sure.
Hmm.
they're in that conversation,
Yep.
and and again, and a good tight end, who knows how to find a soft spot in his own,
Mhm.
knows how to break a tackle in the open field. You know,
Mhm.
they've got a good outlet in Swift. I mean, I don't quite understand why this offense isn't and the best offensive line in football.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
I cannot understand why they are not just. And when you look at the stats, you're like, the only outlier is Hurts. Swift has great numbers. You know,
Mhm.
like those wide receivers have good numbers.
Yep.
The outlier is Hurts, and I mean obviously again the Jets D played their
Of
minds
course.
out this week,
Mhm.
and that was again it was another game where the D won and Zach Wilson played just good enough. He didn't look special. I mean he gave what's it,
Motherfucker.
Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is unbelievable. I mean that
Motherfucker,
guy.
you.
Who are you talking to?
No, I was talking to someone else. Sorry. I
Talking
was,
to Frankie?
yeah, no, I was talking to someone else. It was someone just, never mind. One of my
This is
roommate.
this
I
is
just
really good
walked by.
video, by the way, Mike. Like I'm watching the stand the whole time. Really good video. Uh,
No, I'm walking around. Listen, I got to pack, brother. I'm getting my car's picking me up at 4:30. Four
Understood.
thirty. Gonna
Yeah.
be
Anyway, but the
exhausted.
Eagles. I mean,
I
I
gotta get up at
still think this looks like one of the
3:30.
best teams in football. But I'm really like I'm starting to wonder about Hurts and like, hey, you know how they have that contract? His contract has like an
Mhm.
out after 2 years, and I'm
Mhm.
starting to wonder if they were thinking about this. That like
Well,
maybe
I mean,
he isn't the guy.
he only had 1 year to really under his belt, so
There is absolutely no way there could be anybody that they would be like. There's no way they could be thinking he's not the guy. I mean,
not
after
even.
what he did last year, taking him there, and then this year, he's not like he's having a terrible year. He's just not. I just don't think he looks the
Agreed.
same as he did last year. Um, I
Right.
think
And
he's
last year,
clearly like I would. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say if I was a GM, I this is the kind of guy you're always going for and wanting. You just got to figure out offensively what the kinks are because I clearly think there's something in the playbook, like in
No,
the
sure. And
scheme. It's a scheme. I think it's a scheme thing.
maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean, again, I'm not trying to dog Hurts per se. I'm saying what he did last year was amazing. It was good enough for second
Mm-hmm.
place.
Yep.
You want to be first place. So, how do you get over that hump? And what what we've seen this year with, like you said, Gare, largely the same team.
Mhm.
In some cases, an upgrade. So, given that, and again, it's week 6, so there's a lot of time, and they're 5-1. So again, but
Yeah,
but they have
it
not
just
dominated.
look rusty right now.
Yeah,
It just
and when
emphasizes
you
the
say they look rusty,
importance of
he looks
coaching.
rusty.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I was going to say, but that's the thing. It's that he looks rusty. It's not that they look rusty. It's that Hurts looks rusty, and that's the real. I guess that's my big thing. Is I'm like, he's the guy that doesn't look right to me. Everything else looks like it's churning along pretty good. He seems to be right now the impediment for a team that is 5-1. So the impediments are minimal. Don't get me wrong, but like
Right.
he seems to be the impediment. Um, it's like again, I'm sorry, I'll keep going back to the Ravens, but like we dropped 2 games when we lost to the Steelers. Lamar was not the impediment to that game.
Sure.
7 drop
Mhm.
passes were the impediment in that game.
Right,
In the
right,
game
right.
against the Colts, there seemed to be a lot of things that went wrong. Lamar was one of them.
Yep.
There
Mhm.
were a lot of problems in that game, and it just everything about that game. I mean, the turnovers, everybody turned the ball over. Lamar turned it over. Everybody turned it over.
Yeah.
And you go, well, of course you lost that game. Like, you gave a short field. You shot yourself in the foot driving, in the red zone, turning it over, all this stuff. Both of those
Mhm.
games are games that were given away rather than taken away. And and
Right.
you go, well, the reason they lost both of those games are the kinds of things that are going to happen sometimes. Right now, the Eagles have won 5 of their 6 games. None of them have been, well, not none, but like they have not all been very impressive.
Sure.
And the
Agreed.
re and the everybody looks impressive but Hurts. Like that's all I'm saying. Like he is the reason that they struggled in this game more than anything else, it seemed to me. I mean, now, the defense looked great. The Jets did just enough, you know. I mean, my God, they were the Jets offense did just enough. The defense, she's a whiz. I mean, they were they wanted that game.
Yeah.
I was looking at a stat that since Saleh took over, that they have won. The Jets have more wins under Saleh since he took over, coming back from down 10 or more than any other team in football. I think they're tied with one other team coming back from down 10. And they're tied with your Minnesota Vikings in the same amount of time.
There he
So
is.
only the Vikings have come back and won as many games as the Jets, being down 10. And for whatever it's worth,
this year is going to continue like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for whatever it's worth, for all the Jets' problems, I think that does say something about Robert Saleh.
Mm-hmm.
I think that says something about his coaching and what he instills in those players. And they certainly played it this week.
Mm-hmm.
So they're it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with them, because they stay competitive, which they look like they will be in the AFCs. They look like they're going to be, hanging in for a wild card spot. Do they, and Rodgers comes back, if his Dolphin sex thing works, and he comes back or whatever it is he's doing, having a Dolphin suck his Achilles off or whatever weirdo
I love
ayahuasca trip he's on. If that works and he comes back around playoff time, that would be pretty interesting. It's shaping up pretty exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Man, we two more. We got the Giants Bills. We already touched on it.
We already did that one.
I'm still mad that Darren Waller didn't get his first touchdown. That's I'll tell you, yeah, Matt Milano severely missed. But I'm telling you, I've said all along, I feel like the Bills are just not quite the Bills that we've come to expect. And we'll see. I mean, their record still shows they're top tier, but and I mean they are top tier. I never said they weren't. I just thought there was going to be a slight drop off this year, and we'll see. It seems.
They don't look like this last week, at least. They didn't look like the same team.
Anyway, and then I got to say, highly disappointed. Really wanted to see the Chargers win that game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, but I think everything I've said about Mike McCarthy, man, that guy sucks. He just sucks. The Cowboys won that game. I was impressed with Dak. Dak made a couple of big plays where he extended plays and then just innovated. And CeeDee Lamb looked fantastic. McCarthy, that guy is not a good coach.
They won in spite of.
Yep. Yeah, this was a good test of that, because really that go ahead field goal, that whole drive had nothing to do with McCarthy. That whole drive was Prescott, and actually it was CeeDee Lamb too. I mean, CeeDee Lamb just for that on that last drive was uncoverable. Oh, sorry, and Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks really was the X factor in that game for them. Came through in a lot of big moments.
Well, I was thinking about that one catch where Lamb came all the way across, was lined up in the slot, came all the way across and caught that ball to the right of the hash mark for the first down. It was like a 3rd and long. And Dak Dak was under pressure the whole time, scrambling out and got out in space and threw. And it was like, man, how are the Chargers not blanketing CeeDee Lamb? And then I watched the replay and I'm like, no, it was pretty good coverage. They were right on him. The pass was perfect. Dak made it like it was just, bless you. It was an uncoverable play. You know what I mean? It was an uncoverable play. And then Brandon Cooks made 2 or 3 catches that you just went, how is this guy not a franchise player somewhere? It's unbelievable.
It's because next week he'll disappear. Like it's like if he was that all the time, he would be a number one, and celebrated for it. But he plays like this, he'll have this amazing game, and then next game he might have 1 catch for 8 yards.
I know he's the most frustrating fantasy player to ever own. I've owned him multiple years, and he wins for you and loses for you single-handedly. Yeah. All right, gents. Anything about the Chargers? I mean, I thought Herbert looked terrible.
Yeah.
He didn't look right. I don't know if that was because of the defense. I'm sure partly. but he seemed too excitable all night.
Yeah, he
Yep.
seemed a little jump. I agree.
He missed a lot of lot of wide open throws, or not wide open, but certainly throws that he normally makes. It was
Mhm.
an unfortunate game for him, I thought. But anyway,
He missed Keenan Allen a few times. I know.
yeah, and you had said Keenan losing, he's not going to have that one-on-one coverage anymore, but it doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah.
He's a guy, year in, year out, puts up amazing numbers
Yep.
and never seems to be in the conversation as like one of the best wideouts in football. And I'm not sure why that is.
I know. He's a lot like Mike Evans in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if it's I don't know. I mean, I can't quite figure it out because his numbers are always great.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not quite as gaudy as a Justin Jefferson. Maybe he's not maybe he doesn't make maybe his plays are too just like smooth and easy looking. I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's kind of remarkable because he just always is like, good God, this is one of the best receivers in football. And I never really hear people talk. People always talk about him in the like oh yeah, Keenan Allen. You know what I mean? Like oh yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
And he's just as good as they get.
No question. Agreed.
All right, gents, let's talk about this week. The past is behind us. Let's look at the future.
I like it.
The future.
All right, so we start this week. You're gonna have to give me some fresh lines because everything I see is spotty. So we've got New Orleans. Well, we got Jacksonville going to New Orleans. New Orleans. Oh my God, going to we got Duval going to NOLA. By the way, just a real quick side note. Having been to what used to be Alltel Stadium, and now is Everbank Stadium down in Jacksonville. And by the way, because it's Everbank Stadium, they do every stadium has their thing. They have a thing at Everbank where they're like, all right, Jags fans, it's time to lock the vault. And I'm like, so dumb. I'm like, it's just dumb. Anyway, so I try when I'm at the game, I'm just like, really, like, lock the vault. I mean, it's named after some stupid bank, but like, what does that mean? What do you mean you're anyway? Sorry, bugs me. But I do want to point out one thing. So for Jacksonville, their big chant, is they chant the county that Jacksonville is located in for some reason. They're very proud of their county because Duval County is the largest county in the country. Jacksonville is the largest city in America.
Oh, wonderful!
Did you know that?
I've been there many times.
By size, it is the largest city because
shit to do, ain't nothing there.
It sucks because Duval County, Jacksonville, the city of Jacksonville, is the entirety of Duval County. There is no like city limit. There is a county limit, and so the whole county is all Jacksonville. And so so anyway, so they're real proud of their Duval. But when I went there last time I went there, they were doing they do like a Duval chant, and I just want to point out how annoying I think it is that they chant. And as far as I'm concerned, the inflection on the word, they do it wrong. They go down when they should go up. And I just want to say that just want to point that out. I think it's stupid. Whoever started it should be like, they should be talked to, because this stadium goes Duval, and I'm like, it should be Duval. It should go up. It should go up, or but going down just sounds like it sounds sad and depressing. I don't understand why the whole stadium sounds like they're all very sad. Duval. Anyway,
why do they do that?
I don't know, because it's Jacksonville sucks. Because
it's easier to hit a low note than it is a high note.
I guess
so it's easier to like forcefully push it out of your like diaphragm.
Yeah, I mean, so as we all know, like the best thing to do is whatever's the easiest. Perfect.
No, you get more volume that way.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. The But
You want a
and
bunch of
one,
people going, dude, oh, like, I mean,
yes,
for real?
yes, they should all hit an operatic soprano high C. Duval. Um, and I also want to critique one other thing that I guess the place to go in Jacksonville is to go to the Landing, which
Uh-huh.
sucks. It's a
I've been
stupid
there.
place. It sucks, and it's the only place I know where it's like, hey, it's Sunday. It's a game day Sunday. It's football, and everybody's like, no, it's church day. Everything's closed.
That.
It's just like, why do you even have a team here? It sucks. Oh God, I hate Jacksonville. Okay, but the beach is nice.
Yep, that's it.
Yep,
That's
that's
the
the
only
beach is
part.
nice. But God, I hate Jacksonville. Um, they even have a Maxwell House coffee plant there. So you'd think at least it would smell nice like coffee, but it smells like shitty ass Maxwell House. So it doesn't even smell like good coffee. It smells like that
Ah,
crappy burnt chemical coffee that Maxwell House is. So it's like, man, you can't even do
yes.
coffee smell right. Um, God, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Uh, Jacksonville, love you.
You clearly
Uh,
love Jacksonville.
I'm
yeah.
picking Jacksonville. I'm picking Jacksonville this week, by the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Saints -1 is the current line.
Yep, Jacksonville.
Huh.
I too am
Thursday
going.
night.
I too am going Jaguars.
I'm gonna do a real quick. Don't mind me. Do a quick piece of research on
Lawrence,
Trevor Lawrence's injury. Um,
that's a fair point.
so he's optimistic he can play.
Yeah,
He says his
What
knee
is
has
what is
progressed well. It's a knee
what
injury.
is the knee injury? Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah, he's going 100%. He's good.
I'm gonna take. So you know what? I am going to take New Orleans and just be different than you guys because I'm going to say he goes out there and his knee buckles like a Puritan shoe,
you are a
and
sadist.
huh,
You are a sadist.
and go, man, you really should have taken the week off. Uh, well, what happened, Mikey? You've been gone the
Hmm?
whole time. Now you're gone again.
What do you mean? I've been here. I'm listening.
Yeah, your camera's
My
off.
phone just had shut off.
Yeah, I saw you push
I'm
the button.
I'm turning in. So it's getting dark in here.
I saw you push the button. Don't like, yeah, my phone did a yeah, whatever. All right. Yeah, you can't complain. You missed last week, so you have to hang out for an hour after this is over.
No.
Penance. All right. Let's see. Las Vegas going to Chicago.
Yep,
Shot town, even without my boy.
that's the line as is. As
Is
well,
what?
three. It's three.
It's 3. So I got to look up that Justin Fields injury because that's another one. Justin Fields Bears future in question.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
That's that's not good at all. Um, let's see. Let's see. What is there? So by the end of the week, the Bears should know if Justin Fields will require surgery.
Oh
Okay,
gosh.
so that sounds like he is definitely not playing.
No, he ain't playing.
I'd say that's a safe bet.
Yeah, we're gonna go with. Oh, but wait, but the Raiders are in the same boat, right?
I'm
Because
going with
Garoppolo's
Chicago. On this.
The
Garoppolo's out
Raiders
for.
they at least have Hoyer. So
Yes, the great
That seals it. I'm going Chicago.
Bobby Hoyer,
the battle of the backups.
Billy Hoyer. What's his name?
Joey Hoyer.
Joey
It's
Hoyer.
The third. It's the
Brian
third Hoyer.
It's
It's the third Hoyer.
Who knows? I think that's this. Oh yeah, Garoppolo though I think is okay because they said the McDaniel said he dodged a bullet, which
But
Right.
he's
which I assume is meant as like hyperbole because I don't remember anybody shooting him.
He did not
But
look good. Though.
No,
he is still stupid too.
yeah, he is. I mean, he is. He's he's a meathead. What can you say? God bless him.
Yes.
Down here in my neck of the woods, they say, bless his heart. Boy, that's a tough game. You got Brian Hoyer and
I'm gonna go with it.
and what was that guy's name? Jeez Whiz.
Tangent or something like that.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go with Vegas. Oof, that.
If
Boy,
no other reason, Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams
that
and
is
Max Crosby for that matter. So
yeah, yeah. That is an absolutely unwatchable game. Let's see. Cleveland going to the Colts.
yeah,
Hmm.
Cleveland is favored by 2.
By 2 now. Okay.
Yep. I'm leaning Colts. I'm picking Colts on here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm going back and forth on. I'm going to go Cleveland actually. I just think their defense is that good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So, I'm looking at the Colts and I'm wondering if Jonathan Taylor starts to look like Jonathan Taylor this week or not. I assume he probably needs another week or two to tune
I'm
up.
going to go not because of the defense he's going up against.
Well, yeah, but but again, you scheme, you run at the rush, you run at that pass rush. Um, and Cleveland presumably gets Deshaun Watson back this week, but I'm not sure if that's how much of an upgrade that is.
Right.
I mean, it's an upgrade, but God, he sucks too. Yeah, I'm gonna go Cleveland. I hate this game. I hate this week. All right, let's see. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm looking at the Yahoo the list here, and it has Buffalo at New England, and it has New England listed as the favorite, which I find
Nah,
like that can't
No,
possibly be true.
no, it's
not.
not.
They just haven't.
Buff-
They just
Buffalo is favored by 9.
yeah. I'm like that. It just. I'm like that can't be right.
Yeah,
Um, Buffalo by 9. Yeah, I'm going to go Buffalo myself.
same. Yeah,
I'm
that's
going
how
New
bad.
England.
Ooh,
Mikey, this is the. Is this going to be your
ooh.
bet game? Are you betting this one?
I'm going to go New England.
Because there's no double digit games this week. So what are your bets? Is this your bet?
Well, my system is 7 or more, not just double digits. So
Oh, I thought it was double
anything
digits. Okay.
that's over a touchdown.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was double digits as
I
well.
did
So
too.
okay. So you're going New England. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going New England.
The Buffalo money line is going to be like negative 500. I'm
Where's it?
sure. Let's see. Well, no, it won't be that high. It'll be like negative
Right.
380 or something. All right, let's see. Washington going to the New York Football Giants.
Commanders favored by 2.
Okay.
I got the Commanders.
Hmm. I don't. Man, that's tough. I'm actually going to go Giants.
I am going to go Giants as well. I liked what I saw out of them this week against the Bills. I think they have something to build on there. So yeah, I think
Yeah, defensively especially.
yeah, I think we've seen Washington trending the wrong direction, and New York seems to be trending in the right direction at least this week. Washington, though, I mean, they've got some weapons there. They're they've got. I like Sam Howell, but I don't think he's ready for prime time yet, because with the weapons that they have there, he doesn't know quite what to do with them. And Brian Robinson seems to be disappearing, so I'm kind of thinking something's going on in Washington. Your boy Riverboat Ron not impressing me. All right, let's see. We've got the Hot Atlanta Falcons going into to face see if Baker Mayfield gets that stadium cleaned up in time for everybody to show up at Tampa Bay.
Baker the cake maker. I like this guy. I like how. Did they give him the stadium yet? I don't think they did. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. But if he keeps winning, you're gonna see him moving in there.
Well,
Trust me.
it was Progressive Insurance that gave him the stadium in Cleveland, and all the insurance companies are moving out of Florida. So I don't know. They probably haven't given him anything.
Huh. That's interesting.
That's a Bucks win.
I got the Bucks.
Yeah,
I have the Bucks too. What's the spread on that?
2.5.
It is 2.5. Yeah, I'll take the Bucks at that. If that spread changes too much, though, I might switch my my pick there. If I think I might take Atlanta at 5. So if that shifts, because that defense is tight, and I think as much as I'm not convinced Desmond Ritter is the guy, I think that a 5-point game they might be able to do it anyway. All right, let's see. Baltimore or Detroit coming into Baltimore. Baltimore is a 3-point favorite. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Wow.
Mm.
That is
And
I have to say, a bit of a surprise.
Me too. I am all over Detroit in this one.
I mean, this feels like a push. This feels like it ought to be a push game. A half point, pick 'em, not a 3-point spread.
Mm-hmm.
I might put some big money on Detroit this week if I put it on early.
All right, hold on, gentlemen, one second. Yeah, so yeah, she is on vacation. She's got the classic strep throat vacation. So
All right.
so anyway, all right. I was like, oh my God, it's 11 o'clock. She's like, my daughter is popping in through the door. That's not good. All right, let's see. Where were we? Baltimore, Detroit.
Big money on Detroit. Big money.
I'm actually going to go Ravens. And I'm basing it on because of Montgomery being hurt. If he were healthy, I'd probably go Detroit.
I'm going to go Baltimore because this is a big game, a big big home game, and I think that they're feeling pretty good about themselves, and I think they're gonna scheme their way through this game. I think they're gonna do well. I think this is the game. I think they're all gonna look at it and go, all right, this is the game to show whether or not we are for real or not.
Mm-hmm.
I told the buddy who's a Lions fan this week. I said I foresee a 61-yard field goal from Justin Tucker, doinking off of the upright, for another victory on our.
I remember that game.
Oh yeah.
I remember that game. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be. I don't think you're wrong. I think it is going to be that kind of game, and the 3-point spread I don't love, but
No, I think it'll be pushed. Probably, I could
it'll
see
probably
this
be a
being.
push. But yeah, I think Baltimore gets the win outright, and however that comes, I'll be happy. All right, let's see the Steelers go into the Rams.
Yep.
Yep.
Coming off a bye week less.
Is that a 3-point spread?
It's still a 3-point spread, yes.
Okay,
So.
Rams are the favorites at 3 points.
Yep, 3-point spread. Pittsburgh's coming off a bye week. Is Pickett going to be back or no? I don't.
Oh, I don't even know.
I am. I'm taking Pitt. I'm going with Pitt, baby.
Interesting.
Let's see here. What's it say? He's off the injury October 6th. No, that's not right. I guess he's back. I don't see anything recent.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess he's fine. I'm going to take the.
Is he going to play too or no?
I don't know, man. Who?
Washington, Deontay Washington. Like, isn't he?
Oh, that's right.
Like, he's supposed to be coming back off IR as well. I don't know if he's going to play or not.
Do you mean Deontay Johnson?
Is that who I mean? Sorry, I think so. Yes.
Well, cleared to return to practice yesterday.
Okay, so you may not make it back this week. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, probably plays if he's back to practice. I would assume. I mean, I would assume he's good to go.
Yeah.
Pickett, I'm not seeing anything on Pickett though. I just double checked in case all right. I'm going Rams all day. I think the Rams are I think the Steelers are all defense, but that Rams offense is humming along. I think they'll be fine.
Yep.
And I don't think the Steelers can score enough points to keep up with them, so it doesn't matter.
No, but that's why I was partly asking. I think Johnson, especially coming back, is going to be a huge uptick for that offense, and it could get them on the right track. But if he's not going to be back this week, I'm on the Rams as well.
I don't know. Sorry, Mike. Did you pick Pitt, right? You picked the Steelers.
Yep.
I mean the Steelers are and have always been a team that it starts and ends with their running game, and Najee Harris looks just awful. That line does not open any holes for him. And I mean, it's not that he looks
Right.
bad. It's that there's nothing to run through. And I know Warren has had a couple of big carries, but he not because he looks more special than Najee. He just I think has been the beneficiary of some
Yeah.
the right moments. Um, that offense does not look good, like not in any way. And I don't know. I think Aaron Donald eats this week.
I don't know how they keep bringing Matt Canada back as their offense coordinator. Like it's been like this for years. It's not like a recent thing.
Yeah, I like Matt Canada because he looks a bit like you.
Thanks. Hey, I'll take his paycheck if I can have it.
When I see him up in the booth, I think I sent out a message as I see him in the booth, and I'm like, oh, it looks like Gary up there, picking, they're calling plays. All right, let's see. Arizona traveling to Seattle with 7.5 point dog. Is that right? It's funny that line is shrinking. Because
it's a lot of points. So
yeah, it's a lot of points. Mike, we know how you're going, right?
I'm going Seattle.
Wait, I thought your system was more than 7.
Well, yeah, if it's more than 7, you take the favored money line, right? So so in this case, for our conversation, I'm going Seattle.
Okay, because it's Seattle is favored by 7.5.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in my system, it would be Seattle money line,
Arizona with the points.
With the points, yes.
But we're picking the points. So you're taking Arizona.
We're picking with points, yes.
Yes.
So I am taking Seattle.
The everyman system has collapsed. Mike went to a Gamblers Anonymous meeting and it didn't go over well. So he's off the system.
They're using it. They're using it there. It's doing phenomenal for them. It's just not working for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
They're all relapsing, but no one's losing any money.
Yeah, and they're not winning anything either.
No. But they're getting the thrill out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing.
It's such a degenerate way of thinking. Okay. All right. Gare, what are you thinking?
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Seattle across the board. All right. Green Bay going into Denver. It's just a 1.5 point favorite.
Wow. I'm taking Green Bay all day. Green Bay's going to curb stomp them.
You know, you said that Las Vegas Chicago game was a terrible game to watch. Yeah. This is a pretty close second. Like, let's be honest. I am going Green Bay, but man, that is not a game I really am here for.
I'm going Green Bay, and I'm predicting Aaron Jones with 160 plus all-purpose yards. There's your little side bet. 160 plus all-purpose yards.
Mm-hmm.
So it is going to be the Aaron Jones show, and they are going to roll over Denver.
Well,
and Jordan Love's going to look good because Aaron Jones runs the ball well.
Mm-hmm. They're coming off a 5-8 too, so
yeah. So that's my prediction. It's Aaron Jones, nice and healthy, ready to go. I mean, he came back 2 weeks ago and didn't look great. I mean, he didn't look ready yet. And obviously this team goes as Aaron Jones goes. I mean, that's how the offense goes anyway. All right, let's see. The Chargers go to Kansas City as 5.5 point dogs.
Yes, sir. Still the same. Man.
I'm going Chargers.
I think I'm going to go with the Chargers to cover. Like, I do think the Chiefs will win that game, but I can see it being a field goal game.
Yep. I was just going to say the same thing. I take the Chiefs by 3, so I'll go with Chargers.
Yeah.
And then here's a toughie coming up Sunday Night Football. Good game to watch Sunday night.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Miami at Philadelphia.
Love it.
Yeah. Philly is currently favored by 2.
Okay. Home field advantage favorite.
Basically, yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna go Philly.
Is Lane Johnson back? Is he going to be back?
I don't know for sure.
Um,
I will tell you, I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I am going to take the wagon, and that is Miami.
yeah. I was just wondering because that is, a big loss on that O line, and
For sure.
looks like he has a lateral sprain, so a high ankle sprain, but not like they said, but it's not a bad high ankle sprain, so maybe a couple weeks. So, let me see. Didn't the Eagles had a couple injuries, didn't they? Anyway, let's see. I hate this game.
You know who I'm taking in the next one?
I guess
Yeah,
I
baby.
guess I'm going to take the Eagles. I guess I'll go Eagles. I don't really like this game, but I'll go
Yeah.
Eagles with the home field, with the home crowd throwing batteries at the Dolphins. I think Tyreek Hill gets a 9-volt in the noggin and slows him down a little bit.
Or everybody breaks their knees on the grass, the hard ass turf or whatever that they have out there.
Oh, I mean, yeah, where it's basically like a front doormat over concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And the concrete has holes and pits and stuff in it. So,
Exactly.
So it is a true home field advantage at the link.
Yep.
It's
you're like,
Philly.
where you can and can't run.
Yes. No, you're
Yeah.
not wrong.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
still going Miami.
they shouldn't be allowed to have they should be forced to do something about that field. Yeah, okay, so I'll take Philly. Who'd you take, Mike? Philly?
Philly.
Yep.
Man, now it makes me want to change my bet if Mike's taking them.
I would.
All right.
If I were you.
I'll just spread I'll spread my
Just
lead
go
a
up.
little bit further after this week, please.
Yeah.
Just go opposite of me. You'll do well.
So the Niners go into the dome in Minnesota.
Yeah, and this line's actually adjusted, so it is 6.5 now. So
Okay. And hold on a
Minnesota
second.
all
Who's
day.
the favorite on that? San Francisco, right?
49ers are, yes.
Okay, so because on Yahoo it has it the other way,
I know.
and I'm
I
like,
see
that
that.
can't be right. So 6.5. Who are you taking, Mike?
Minnesota, baby.
He kind of has to take Minnesota every game from here on out.
Every game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if every starter on the offense gets completely knocked out for the season.
Yep.
And their kicker is starting at quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
he has to take the Vikings in every game going forward.
That's my pick. That's my pick.
What is Debo's injury?
They were all short term, all three of them.
Yeah, but how short term?
I don't care. I'm still going Niners. It doesn't matter to me.
I don't know. The
Minnesota defense is not Cleveland, and so they are not going to present the same challenge to Purdy that they did.
Yeah. Well,
even without McCaffrey or Depot.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, they got too many weapons still.
The injury that I'm most concerned about is neither C-Mac or Debo.
No, it's Greenlaw.
It's Trent Williams.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a big one too. I forgot they lost him too.
He's day to day, but he was in a walking boot after the game. So I don't know.
I heard that was precautionary, is what I heard.
Okay.
No, that's a big one too. I mean, all those pieces are big pieces, so it's tough to lose all four of them. So I was glad to hear they were all coming back pretty quickly because they're just fun to watch right now. As a fan of the sport. So
I think Greenlaw is going to be back. I'm going to go. I don't love that spread, but I'm going to go San Francisco. I think it's going to be close.
No.
But well, I think it's going to be close. But yeah, I think San Francisco is gonna. Yeah, San Francisco has it. All right. Yep, San Francisco for the win for the 6.5 point spread. Yeah.
San
All right.
Francisco win.
So that's that, gentlemen. We'll check back in next week and see how we do.
Yes, sir. Hopefully, I do better
Yeah.
than 6. I got to get better. I got to get back to double digits. That's it. Just got back. I mean, I had a 10. I think I had an 11 in there.
Did I catch a niner?
And then I crapped the bed.
And you shouldn't do that because you're laying in bed right now, and that would be
I
bad.
am. I am
All
laying
right.
in bed.
Well,
All right, Jet.
any final thoughts, Mike? Final thoughts before you check out? Safe flight tomorrow.
Final thoughts are I am going to La La Land so I can go to Atlanta.
All right. Well, see, have a good time. What are you doing in Atlanta? Sorry, let me really quick. Where are you going?
I'm actually just jumping in a car and driving to Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay. As you do.
Yes, it's an hour, about 2 hours away.
You got work thing?
Yeah, I'm going to be working there for a few days and then drive back to Atlanta. And then I don't know. I'm going to go off somewhere. I might either come back to Baltimore or go down to Florida.
All right.
Maybe Tampa, somewhere like that.
Sure. Well, if you come anywhere, you decide to drive through the middle of the state, up here where there's not a lot to do, give me a call.
All right, I will. I'll be sure. I'll be sure to do that.
Feel like coming to the least touristy part of the state. We got a beef farm across the way. If you want to go see a beef farm, you come on through.
That's enticing. I might just put that on my stop.
Hey, I live in a nice town of 6,000 plus people. It's nice here.
Good.
I mean, when I say 6,000 plus, I mean like 6,100. So we're growing.
Well, isn't it near the University of Florida?
It is indeed. Yeah,
Oh,
come on
cool.
through. Come get. Maybe we'll go watch a volleyball game if there's a game. We'll go.
Oh,
I know you'd enjoy that.
I would love that.
Yes, indeed. I know you would. All right, man. Have a safe flight.
You got it, brother.
All right.
See you guys.
See ya. Any last words, Gary?
No, get her done.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things that the none of you that are watching are doing. Do that stuff. All right. Till next time. See you later.
See ya.
Later.